Yeah, dude, I see you. I got mine too. No, I painted my wall green. Yeah. Oh, you're hoteling? Yeah. Shit, dude. Yeah. Oh, Christian's in here. Yo, doing good, bro. Wow. All right, all right. Let me get this going. The audio. Yeah, there we go. Okay, okay. Gonna hit record. Start recording. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cantina MX Football Podcast, episode 442. Mexico just finished kicking some ass 4-0 against Honduras, and they make it farther into the Nations League. We're doing something different tonight. We're on Twitter Spaces, we're on YouTube, and we're also recording on Riverside FM. It should be a good one tonight. We got all bunch of people in all different places. But welcome, everyone. I want to welcome my panel tonight, starting with Abdias. Abdias, how are we doing?
Buenas, buenas, putos. ¿Cómo estamos?
Let's go, let's go. And he just had an issue there. And also joining us from an airplane, Christian, a.k.a. What's your handle on Twitter again?
And Rifado.
Rifado, how we doing?
I'm good, man. Feeling extra good after that 4-0, 4-0 drumming.
Yeah.
We gave the Catrachos.
Yeah, absolutely. We had, honestly, quite a surprise. I didn't have any expectations going into this match, especially after the 2-0 defeat in Honduras. I get getting hit in the side of the head. But they came back, I'm not going to lie, in Toluca. A great ambiance. The fans showed up tonight. The players showed up tonight. And once the first goal came in, it was like a house of cards. The whole house fell for Honduras. And I can't remember of one chance from Honduras that was anywhere remotely close to being dangerous. Malagon in the back, surprising everybody. Aguirre with his choice today in the lineup. And in the end, it was a false alarm for Mexican fans. They get the job done.
Yo, it was actually really nice to see them come back. Well, first of all, let me say, buenas, buenas, putos. ¿Qué onda? Pues, miren, chavos, se me cayó el pinche el internet, pero eso es lo que pasa cuando lo tienes pirateado, ¿verdad? So, no hay pedo, pero buenas, me da gusto estar aquí. Pero neta, güey, I didn't see it coming. Like, the way Honduras was playing at home, it was impressive, and I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. It was even a little bit intimidating. That energy, that garra that they showed throughout the entire play, it seemed to be neutralized in Toluca. It was one of those beautiful things where if you look at Toluca Stadium and just the ambiance that it gives you and the way that it's set up, it's a beautiful thing. But let's keep in mind, the only reason why we're getting this is because el Azteca está cerrado. Si no fuera por eso, güey, estuviéramos en el pinche Azteca otra vez.
That's true.
Y esta mamada nunca estuviera. We would never see this type of games. We wouldn't have seen this because Toluca is like a secondary home. And that's even because there's probably like what, a palenque or some type of bullshit happening at El Acron.
Yeah. Hey, look, I've always been a fan of the Bombonera. Nostalgia, always a nightmare to play in as a Chivas fan. A lot of negative memories associated there, but then also positive in 06 getting that victory. But I'm not going to lie, they did some remodeling and they modernized the stadium. And, I hate to see that it's not going to be a stadium for the World Cup. It absolutely deserves a chance, opposed to some of the stadiums that got in the States and in Canada.
Well, it's a sitting issue. That's the problem. They don't have enough seats for it to qualify as a World Cup stadium.
Hmm.
Now, with that being said, if you notice, there was empty seats, dude, which was a wild thing for me to notice because Toluca fills that stadium every single weekend. Now, the fact that La Selección had empty seats, the upper deck
Hmm.
had a bunch of empty seats up there. So it's just one of those things of like, even though it's a smaller stadium, it's a tighter fit, you're still having issues getting people in there to fill the stands.
I think we have to keep in mind that it's what is it? It's a Tuesday night, and but one thing I do want to compliment about this stadium was the pitch. The quality of the pitch was just absolutely amazing, and it just really helped out with like us trying to play as the protagonists. And so, like, I don't think that we would have had as much success at like the Azteca or the Chiba Stadium because those pitches are awful because they like use it for like multi-purpose, like concerts and stuff. So it it really worked to our advantage to play in Toluca this last time.
Yeah, for sure. The pitch looked immaculate, and it's just ready for some Liguilla action. I was in the chat earlier today. I was getting pissed off, like, yo, we paused Liguilla for this bullshit, especially in the first half. Like, let's be honest, it was not a sexy first half for Mexico. They do get that goal to kind of get the momentum going, but things were not looking good for Mexico. They're looking bleak, and Aguirre made a lot of changes between the first leg and the second leg, which makes me wonder, like, why did they choose Ochoa in that first leg? Was it because they're in Honduras, jitters, nervousness? Like, what was the reason behind that lineup on, what was it, Friday or Saturday? I forgot what day. Yeah, it was Saturday. No, Friday, right? It was Friday. Yeah.
It was Friday.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna jump in on this one because I fucking told you guys. I was like, "Yo, it's time to risk. It's time to not put Memo in there. Let's put Mayon. Let's look at these young guys. Like, hey, Huescas played a great fucking game today. All right, the moment that you pulled him out, the crosses coming into the box were neutralized. That type of play was gone. So every now and then you have to risk. You have to echar la carne al asador, güey. ¿Para qué? Para poder hacer algo diferente.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened. Like Jaime said it, not you, bro. Sorry. Like Joel said it the other day. He's like, yo, because the thing is, Mexico's trying to have their cake and eat it too, right? You want to have your sponsorships, like El Güey que nomás hace sandwich. You want to have all of these other things, but yet you can't fucking score goals.
I hear you. We also are on Twitter Spaces. I know it's a little confused because we're everywhere right now. We're connected all at once. Joel's here. Can you hear us from Twitter Spaces?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Hey, welcome, bro.
Loud and clear. Thank you. I just wanted to add about the differences in squads from the away game and the home game. Two things come to mind. One is expecting a really rough, a lot of roughhousing match, which tends to happen a lot with Mex on the road. I didn't really see much of that in the last game, probably because of the rain. But he would probably choose players that are a bit more apt for, throwing down and yellow card accumulation for that as well. I think one of the players, I forgot which one, just he's going to miss the next match. So I mean, those are two things. And I think he was playing the series. Aguirre was playing the series as far as like with a draw or even a one, a defeat by the minimum margin is good enough. But watching that game, I felt confident Mexico could win it at home. I wasn't exactly expecting the 4 goals, probably not in the 90 minutes, but really glad they won. And I missed you guys talking about. I kind of heard you guys just talk a bit about Toluca, the Bombonera, the stadium. Yeah, because of the Azteca being, Diaz was saying how the reason it was held there because of the Azteca is under construction. And I was having the same thought while watching it because I was thinking this is more of the type of fan base you want for Mex. They were the whole time, cheering them on. Stika would have turned against them 5 minutes in. They would they would have thrown more bottles at
That
Aguirre.
is a good thing you point out for sure. They even
Yeah.
mentioned on the broadcast that there was no, homophobic chant tonight, which is that just like a US Pocho thing? Because I don't think they've done it in La Azteca, but I think it's
Well, it
just
started in Jalisco.
uh-huh.
It started in Jalisco. The Atlas fans started that chant. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was against Oswaldo Sanchez. I'm not sure, but they started it, and at the Jalisco was where the under 23 Olympic qualifiers was held, and they the fans would go to the games at Jalisco, and they would do the chant, and that's where it cut on from there.
Wait, we used to do it in high school at fucking football games in Texas. When the opposing kicker would do it, the whole fucking
Sí, güey,
stadium
pero
would hear it.
I know, but
No, ya sé,
you
güey,
know
ya
how
sé
far
que,
back
que
you're
los
going.
niños de aquí son más suavecitos, que les duele la concha cuando les pegas. No
Ay,
hay pedo,
güey.
güey, lo entiendo. Pero mira, güey, aquí está el pedo, ¿verdad? Los únicos que hacen un pinche pedo sobre esto son los gringos, los putos y los pochos. Entonces dime cuál eres, ¿verdad?
Well,
Porque
no,
mira, güey,
well, because look,
if you watch,
it's
espérate,
like
güey,
20
if you
years,
watch a
like you said.
game, ¿sabes qué, güey? Dale.
No, like you were saying, it's been like 20 years. It's about 20 years when it started, like in 02 or 03 around that time. Yeah, Olympic right after La Volpe took over. So he took over what late, like in December, going into 03. So it was around 03 or 04, give or take. It's still 20 years that we've been hearing that chant. And like Avi, as you said, it
Exactly.
wasn't. It was never a big deal up until 2014.
Y luego, aquí
And
está
in
el
the
pedo, güey.
U.S.
So what I was gonna say, I think you're kind of segueing to it. So look, it wasn't an issue until the U.S. got involved, and as of right now, if you watch Liga MX, right, they've been doing this beautiful thing where they've been broadcasting specific games in both English and Spanish. I've talked about it. It's something that's really great and good. They're trying to expand the reach, which is what we all want for our league, right? Because it's a fucking beautiful
Yeah,
product.
reach around.
But if you notice, and or at least because I like to watch the English broadcast because it goes against the grain of a lot of what it is that you're hearing. Just like right now, I have punto final y luego la última palabra que va a venir afterwards because I don't want to hear el mame de TUDN. Right, I'd rather hear the other voices that are out there around. But the important thing, like, it's the truth, right? But the important thing here is que esos cabrones en inglés nos están mentando la madre, güey, pero los pinches indios no entienden. Ese es el pedo. Porque lo que te están diciendo es reprochable que estén tirando cosas al estadio, ¿verdad? That they're throwing bottles onto the field, that they're doing all of these things that makes Mexican soccer Mexican soccer. Y me vale verga que si le rompieron la cabeza a Aguirre, güey. Even he said, is like, es fútbol. Esto es. And they're like, no, profe, no es fútbol. No, güey, es fútbol si eres puto, ¿verdad? Y te quejas de la cosa. Pero lo que era Aguirre, güey, el pinche guerrero que fue, ese cabrón sale y se parte la madre y güey, una pinche lata a la cabeza, ¿crees que le va a romper la madre? Nada.
Well, when I saw that happen, I was like, they just did Max a favor. They're going to use this for fuel.
Yeah, for sure.
and to take away a bit from the defeat. Now it's a talking
No,
point.
espérame. And like, just to finish, the other thing that they do on TUDN on the English broadcast is that they specifically point out every single time that you hear the puto chant. They make a point out of it in the English broadcast to be like, oh, this is reproachable. Oh, no, how could they do this? Oh, the ref is within every right to cancel the match. Güey, es puto México, güey. ¿Crees que nos importa este pedo?
Yeah. Joel, you're missing out on the face reel tonight on Riverside. You're missing out. Go ahead, Rifado.
Hey, just to hop back on the Aguirre talk, and it's that like I think the biggest difference between the last game and this most recent game is his ability to commit. You know, this time it was all the carne in the
Yes.
asador, and it worked out for him, right? Like we scored 4 goals. What a success! No goals scored against us. But in the last game, I feel it was like half and half. Like he was supposed to play defensive, right? So he had Angulo, he had Montes, and then he had Eric Reyes, and then you have who else? You have El Machin, but you also have Orbelin and you have Chavez, and those two players are like the sort of guys that are best on the ball. They're not off the ball players, you know. And so like I feel like, not to get all biblical, but like what's this passage that goes neither hot nor cold but lukewarm, I spit you out. And it's like it didn't work because he didn't commit to a defensive style completely, right? He should have chose Malagon instead of Ochoa. He should have like committed to like a defensive approach, right? He was going half and half, and it blew up in his face. And now this time around, he was fully committed to the attack. Like I said, all the carne in the asador, and that was effective. Like that showed results. And so like I hope he learned from this. You know, I know they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but it looks like he did. You know, given how radically different this 11 was to the last one.
We have Elbow joining us. Elbow, can you hear us?
I can hear you fine. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Welcome to the show, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks. So I may not be on here long. I'm a little bit under the weather, man, but that was an entertaining game. I think early on, I probably had a little bit of the doubt because there was opportunities created that they were blowing, right? Especially as you're approaching that first goal, right? So they were working heavily through what's the kid's name again from that used to play Cruz Azul? Huescas, right? So they were working through him quite a bit, and things were looking up. And you know, there was missed opportunities, but you know, eventually they got it together, and you know, again, I got to give Raul Jimenez a pat on the back for recovering, right? For everything that guy's been through. He did what a striker's supposed to do, and on that Chiqueta run was right there. That was a tiro centro, and he was right there.
Yeah, and you know what? I was about to rip Jorge Sanchez a new one for missing that fucking easy-ass goal. And then what does he do a couple of minutes later? He ends up putting in the back of the net and getting that massive goal, the 3-2. And then the penalty at the end, the 4-0. Yeah, it was just like a statement from the Mexican national team today. And, you know, really disappointing from Honduras, really. Like, did they forget to show up today? Like, I don't know, man.
So this isn't uncommon. This isn't uncommon for them to come to Mexico and fold up. And I think it was Joel talking about the stadium. You know, I guess he was echoing, I guess, Al Pastor's sentiments on the thread that we're on. And I don't know what that seats. What, about 25,000 people?
I think it's closer to 30, no? I'll have to double check.
Not 100% sure, but you could feel that crowd, right? And to add, Toluca has elements, man. Altitude. It freaking gets it gets
it's higher than Mexico City.
Damn it, you stole my thunder. I was about to ask, like, how much was that a factor too? Because I mean, it was pretty up there.
I want to say maybe the altitude. I don't know so much about the humidity because the Catrachos play in a humid ass place, man. But the altitude has got to weigh on them a bit.
Yeah, it tires you up faster. It does affect, and if that's, you know, good reason he chose a lot of those players from Cruz Azul and you know, Liga MX that are used to playing at that altitude and in that stadium.
So I'm looking at the stats here. La Bombonera, Toluca Stadium, 31,000 is the capacity, and it is 8,727 feet above sea level. So yeah, those two factor in. If I'm not mistaken, the one of the staff on the Honduras side, like he like fainted and stuff.
Shit.
They were showing it in the sideline.
He needed to
it was
take some Take some
El
Viagra,
preparador
dude.
físico.
Yeah. Ironically.
You know what? Joel, hold on. Last time you came in here con la verga parada, just dropping in what we thought at the time were alternative facts. Pero por favor, güey, dime la verdad. ¿Qué pasó?
No, I just remember from when it's Argentines that did it for Libertadores, and they did it for their national team. And you guys can find, if anybody Googled, you can put Argentina national team, Bolivia, Viagra. That's all you need to put, and you'll see the different, headlines from the newspapers. They did a mix though, a mix of something, but hey,
Uh,
it's whatever works.
Real quick, so we got some new peoples on Twitter Spaces. Feel free to chime in on the conversation. We want you guys to be involved. Habibi, you've been on the sidelines a little bit too long. You got anything to add?
No, man. I think it was a perfect game from La Selección. I haven't really watched the game in a minute. Honduras, like you guys said, when they come to Mexico, they tend to shit the bed and they remind us why the H is silent. Se quedan mudos los cabrones.
Ooh. He said the H is silent. Damn.
Shit.
Yeah, and how much of the Aguirre getting hit in the head, like how much of that played a factor? You think tonight? Do you think the players like riled up and try to?
That's him, bro. That's Aguirre. That's his, like he's that type of coach.
Was this I gotta ask you a question. Was this a WWE type of cut?
Yeah, dude.
A Trump attempt assassination type of bleeding? Like what are we looking at here?
More WWE. He probably bladed himself when he touched his head. He just hit him blade. No, I that's just Aguirre. And then there's this it's this picture that went viral. It still gets used a lot. It's his face. It's a banner from one of his teams when he was in La Liga, and he says something like it's an insult. What he says, un partidos hijos de puta or something like that. He's basically cursing his own players, but that's like that lights a fire in their ass.
He said, "Excelente trabajo, hijos de puta." Yeah.
Yeah, like he's pretty much insulting them, calling their moms a whore. But
Hey, also as a fan, this is more of a clásico than versus the U.S. man. Like, this reminds me like America Chivas being like a plastic created by the media, and this reminds me like there's actual like beef between Central Americans and Hondureños. Because like I log on my Facebook, and there's a lot of shit talking on my timeline from all multiple people. Activity that I usually don't see after Mexico-U.S. game.
Shit talking like about who? Mexico or about Honduras?
Both ways. So I feel like Central America.
Yeah, bro. Los Hondureños have been trying to punch up.
Have real beef.
I see.
Look, man, there's a hierarchy in Latin America, and los pinches Hondureños should know their place. But lately, they've been forgetting it ever since that win. Se creen bien pinche valientes. Pero por eso les metimos la pipa, ¿verdad?
They treated it like a World Cup final.
Well, you know what else? Something that like I believe happens, like you had in Mexico, how a large section of the media, mainly TV Azteca, and they would vilify America and talk about all this corruption, and so I feel like the Central Americans did something similar, and they took a page from that, and then they did it to the Mexican national team, where they would say that CONCACAF would favor Mexico. Even though that was never really true. If you see, if we sit down to look at shit that's happened, and even when we go back to when Mexico, when the Mexican was the head of CONCACAF, Mexico never really had like that advantage over these countries like they like to think so. But I do think the media did a massive disservice to their fans to kind of point that out and say, they're always getting help because they need to be in the final. They need to do this and that. And I've been hearing that shit for years, especially like in LA. I've grew up listening to the radio stations down here, Radio Única and some of the other ones, and everyone would call there, like a lot of Central Americans, and they would always echo the same thing.
I mean,
I
every
think
single time Ron is on here, he talks about going back to Neve. Like, I get it. Some people hold some feelings very true.
I think a lot of it is the old saying is that for the most part, for a lot of these Central American teams playing Mexico's their World Cup, right? So there's a lot of there's a lot of trash talk with that in particular, because that's who they've always had to, I guess, look up to, right?
And as far as they're facing big teams, because they don't really host. If we see like who they host in friendlies, and it's not like you're gonna see Honduras versus Brazil, at San Pedro Sula. It's
I mean, it's a little bit
mostly,
jealous if we're being honest, because they're big soccer fans, but if you realize most of them are like Madrid, Barcelona fans, European fans, because their leagues aren't that strong. And I guess they're kind of jealous when they see that we have like Tigres, América, Chivas, Monterrey, Cruz Azul. That our teams have competed in Libertadores. Our national team hangs with some of the best Southern American teams. So yeah, we are like the dog to beat in the region. But I still feel like because they have that passion towards it, that these games feel more real than the whole U.S. Mexico border hype story they try to create.
I mean, at a certain point, the U.S. rivalry felt real. And now they just fucking bled it out for every drop that it has to where it's not there anymore.
I think it's been reinvigorated the last couple of years. They've had a pretty, outstanding dominance towards us.
Oh, pinche vieja se la mamó. I'm sorry, go on.
Yo qué,
Go
güey?
on.
No, that's me, dude.
Huh?
Yeah,
Dude, come on. Just the fact that if Mexico loses, it could be fucking marbles to the U.S. You're already talking about, all the fans are already talking about replacing the coach, and they suck, and the U.S. already surpassed them. If there wasn't a rivalry, they wouldn't be all that butt hurt. But there is, dude. There is. As soon as they lose a game, it's fucking, that's it. Fucking Mexico fans are like, fuck this, I'm out. It's a lot of crying, dude.
I know that
You see it all the time.
They were keeping tabs on us on the U.S. Soccer Reddit. They posted the 2-0 defeat we had on Friday.
Yeah.
And they were like talking about it, like, hey, like what's going on? And they were like celebrating. Like, I don't know. You don't really see that from our side. We don't really like. I think they had a game right against Jamaica. I didn't keep up with it. Like,
yeah,
I don't give a fuck. I don't care what they're up to and what their results are. But
we have to, Jaime. We need to not
dude?
care, but keep up.
If they would have won or lost against Jamaica, it doesn't make my day. Like, it doesn't really affect us.
Come on.
No, but more in the sense of knowing the strength of the region, because we have a good idea of how good some of these teams are.
Our region's ass. I'm trying to get out of our region.
I agree in part that we do have to keep tabs on what's going on with the U.S.
Yes,
but I don't think it's that critical, because we have more. What do you have there, Jaime?
This is me squishing Joel's head right now.
Yeah, and they don't even care over here, man. The U.S. national team, they played here in St. Louis, and I was like watching the news, and they gave more coverage to the hockey team, to the baseball team, off season like moves, and then the actual team coming here to the city. They touched on it like, oh yeah, and the U.S. plays tomorrow at 7. If anyone wants to go, like whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, the one thing I wanted to add is the reason that at this point, there's no reason for me to be paying attention to the U.S. is Mexico has too many problems to be paying attention to someone else, man. You got to pay attention to what's going on at home.
Yeah,
and so that's why
the U.S. winning or losing doesn't help. Like, it doesn't help us. It doesn't, like, we got so much shit we got to figure out that it's like, dude, good for them, but like, we got to focus on our own shit.
No, I think more in terms of knowing the strength of the region and not just basing it off of old results or whatnot.
Dude,
just like understanding where the team is, because the media tends to exaggerate, and then fans will go with it.
this happens every World Cup where it's like all the teams from CONCACAF. Oh, we're gonna support each other because like if we do well and
I don't mean it like that.
on the world stage, like your win is my fuck
Oh, yeah,
all
yeah.
that. Dude, I hope they lose every fucking game. You saw me when I was talking about Canada. I'm like, I fucking hope they lose
Yeah.
every game. They're not gonna get out of the group stage, and they didn't. And it's just like I don't care. Like there's no greater good in CONCACAF, bro. It's all shit. And like we need to find a way to cross-pollinate and get out of here. Like play more games
No, but
against
I mean-
CONMEBOL and stuff.
I mean, us keeping in tabs. I mean, us as fans keeping tabs so that we have realistic expectations, not go along with a lot of times what the media says. For example, the whole a la Volpe that he could qualify, walking through the qualifiers. And it's like, yeah, it's happened with a lot of weak teams when the rivals are at a weak point. But there's been times where they're actually pretty strong. And at that point, it's like, well, and that's how I just a lot of fans, we fall into that, to that mistake where we're still seeing these teams from 4 years ago, and some of them are way different now, and we're being overcritical of the national team. That's more along the lines of just keeping tabs on the rivals, on seeing what they're doing.
We got Ray Orozco joining us on Twitter Spaces. Welcome. How'd you see the Mexico-Honduras game from your side? Ray, can you hear us?
Oh yeah. What you call it? I thought that was a great performance. It's a performance that Mexico really needed. I didn't think we played that bad in Honduras, but you gotta score
Same.
goals to win games.
Yeah.
And then I would also just like to say, there's this. I'll tell you right now, all of the Spanish-speaking world hates on us Mexicans. I remember going to school with a kid that was from Spain, and he always had to tell people, "I'm not Mexican. I'm not Mexican."
That's the reason why, man. Because, like, here's the deal. If you speak Spanish in the U.S., you automatically default to Mexican. At this point, Mexican is the name brand. Everything else is a fucking knockoff, all right?
It's like the jacuzzi, right? Right up yes.
Exactamente, güey. Ahora,
Yeah.
now here's the rule, and people haven't caught on to it yet. North of the Mason-Dixon, it becomes Dominican, all right? Like Mexicans stay down south. We don't really travel that far north.
No, ya no, güey. Se la van a pelar. Look at the new numbers, right? It's spreading like wildfire.
También los
What
pinches
are you talking
puertorriqueños,
about?
güey.
Chicago has the second largest population of Mexicans outside of Mexico City.
Yeah, go outside of Chicago, bro.
I live in Milwaukee.
You heard of Puebla, York?
Puebla, York.
No mames. Dominicans are born in New York.
Wait, there's more Mexicans in Chicago than in LA? I don't believe that.
No, it's
fucking Mexicans breed
you're right.
rabbit, bro.
I think it's the third. I think it's the third. I think you're right.
Mass deportations.
For everyone.
That taco truck in every corner that sounding real by the day. By the minute, I should say.
Ray Orozco told us, bro, it's time to go back to the Chichis days. Like we're there. We're going back.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm afraid of.
I got a question for you guys because it was kind of a hot topic on the group chat. How do you guys feel about like politics and sports? Pulisic had a celebration that he had, was it yesterday, that caused a lot of controversy. He was like replicating the Trump dance, and afterwards he said, "Oh, I didn't know it was like affiliated with politics. I just thought the dance was funny." And people are starting to take sides and say, "Oh, you're alienating some of your teammates that are minorities," and it's getting propelled into this crazy shit. I'm like, yo, like, is it really that serious? What are
it is if it hurts you. Like, do you feel hurt by it? I saw it and I fucking laughed. I was like, este pinche vato. Like, es puro mame, güey. Learn to have fun. If anything, understand that he himself is an immigrant in another country doing a dance, I guess, associated with deporting immigrants. Like it's all just too fucking meta for you to be mad at it. And if you're mad at it, you're too fucking dumb to understand all of it.
Yeah, I didn't find it
Yeah.
offensive. I mean, I think it's like, part of the mame. And, also I don't find it offensive because I'm a Mexico fan. Now, I think if there are U.S. fans out there that I feel like alienated because they're minorities and all that bullshit,
Because they're
you might want to look
Salvadorian.
at them. Yeah, you might want to look in the mirror and be like, should I really be supporting this team then? Like,
Mm.
I mean, if it makes you feel a certain way, it means that you don't have that full confidence that that's your team, you know? So
That's
like
it. Like, yo,
if you feel the players on the field don't represent your identity, maybe you're having an identity crisis issue and you should go back to your Salvadorian roots or your Honduran roots or your Mexican roots and trying to join this white boy team.
I
I think
there's a lot of soccer fans in this country who lean to the left. I would argue the majority of soccer fans lean to the left. You gotta sometimes know your audience. I didn't even I saw the celebration and I did not even correlate the two together personally when I was watching it live. But in that aspect, it doesn't really offend me at all. But like I said, there's a lot of soccer fans who lean to the left, and they tend to be the most vocal on social media.
Yeah, I think a lot of this stuff, a lot of, at least from what I've noticed in most recent years, has become more like a hotter topic, and probably because of social media and how before something came on the news and you'll see it for like a few seconds, and then it's onto something else, and then you'll just forget about it. And now you go online and it's in your face as soon as you wake up,
Mm-hmm.
or even if you switch, you're on Instagram or Facebook, and it's popping up, and it stays with you. I really don't care about these things. Like even when there was the taking the knee, and then some
Mm-hmm.
of the players were doing it for football games and whatnot, and it never pissed me off. It never got to me of like it's disrespectful or this or that. So a dance, like I don't, and I think people will make even they end up making it a bigger issue than it should really be.
I also think it's too because it's Donald Trump. Like he's just controversial regardless. He was controversial even before he became into politics. So I mean, anything that if you either like the dude or you don't like the dude. So in
Yeah.
that aspect.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think this Jaime,
Go
is
ahead.
that so. I didn't see the celebration. I saw it on the football game because I know that was one of the things, the Raider game. But whatever, I didn't even think about it until it was brought up later on. Do I think some of these guys are doing it as a taunt to the other side? Yeah, I think they are. But at the end of the day, I really don't give a damn. And the only thing I give a damn is if that you're gonna if you're gonna make theatrics about one person reacting to one thing one way and then not reacting to the other way, or not reacting to the same way, then those people need to shut the hell up. But uh, at the end of the day, you know, it didn't affect me whatsoever. Hell, I got up from being sick and I saw you know I saw like the was it Twitter feed, and it was a hot topic. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's not a big deal. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
doing the dance, and he was doing it with like some of the team that's black or Mexican. Pepe's Mexican, and it doesn't look like it was like intentional. Like, oh yeah, I'm a Trump
Well,
supporter.
Pepe's from Texas. We got to understand that that the Latino community is very different depending on where you grow up, right?
Yeah.
So it's more of a. And again, I definitely don't want this to go to politics either. But at the end of the day, it didn't affect me. It was a dance, and I didn't even realize it. I didn't see that one. The football one, didn't care. Or again, I didn't realize it was a Trump dance until it was on Twitter. So
I mean,
I think
Yeah.
the biggest question here is why does it bother you? Right? Like, what about someone dancing bothers you? If so, like, don't you understand
it's
mame?
the connotation or association with what's going on
No, I get
with
it,
the
right?
recent
But like,
election.
yo,
Yeah.
how are you so butthurt about it? Right?
Yeah.
Still, like, yo, at this point, we've had what 2 weeks to deal with it.
Yeah.
Like, yo, bro, even you know what? I'm gonna hold that one back. But like, come on, man, you can even get over that, right? After 2 weeks, come on, man,
Now,
keep it
now is
pushing.
this more is this more in reference to the Latin community or just in general?
The
Because
Latin.
I seem to think that
Latinx.
what's that? Hot?
No,
Latinx, get it right. It's Latinx.
No, no. So
You know,
yeah, no,
no, sorry, go on. Finish,
no.
finish,
So yeah,
Mikolo.
the reason I asked that is because just family members and people that I know that are like they're Latinos are they can handle the mame, right? It's fine.
Yeah,
But
even
I see
against us,
this.
like we'll find that if it's funny, we'll be laughing at that shit.
Yeah,
If you're counting on Mexicans, well,
yeah. I mean,
that
there's a
one
little
dude
bit
has
thicker
done it a
skin.
few times. What's that comedian guy? He did the joke that no one questions the pyramids in Mexico. Um, you know what I'm talking about? Schultz.
I know the joke, but I don't know
Oh,
the
the guy with the
guy.
mustache.
Yeah, he had another one about what they call wetbacks and something along the lines of ideas, kind of jokes about finishing in their back.
But yeah,
but I
You know
mean,
what? I'm
I
just
see
happy that I'm
that.
true to a brand. Y sabes qué? Porque if you want a fucking brand, let me tell you, after 2 weeks, a pussy recovers from a fist fucking, okay? So you can too.
Okay, I open the door. I don't.
Oh
yeah.
man.
No, I do think it depends on the crowd, right? So the
Yeah.
mame, kind on whatever threads. Whatever one of the threads that I'm on with you clowns, the mame is
That's what I'm saying,
is
bro.
going.
Like, dude, Ron was on the fucking chat going ape shit. I'm like, where is he tonight? He was using his mic the whole day. I'm like, bro, hop on this fucking platform. Let's hear you out.
Yes.
Because
You know what? I was actually hoping for them because, hold on, let me just say this really quickly and I'm going to steer us back to the games that we just had. Cruz Azul was the base of la selección, pero los de América fueron los que pusieron un pinche show.
Okay.
That's fair.
Oh damn.
Wait, me quito la camisa and I can accept what it was.
You're not counting. You're not counting Raul, are you?
Wait, Al Pastor, was that the real Tifu that they used today or no?
No, that was not. That was puro mame.
Oh, I saw a Tifu of Javier Aguirre. It looked pretty cool.
No, there is one, bro. Like actually, that was in the stands.
Yeah, there was one like with 3 players.
I didn't see it. I didn't see the one that they did today.
Yeah, which is another thing going back to what was being mentioned before. That's a cool stadium. Fans are cool. And then, when's the last time you've seen a tifo in a Mexico game?
I know, right?
Wait, seen what? Wait, what?
It's
Can you repeat it?
You know those like graphics that they put on Tifu?
Como una pancarta, güey. Lo que hace la afición.
Oh.
Una valla, una pancarta. ¿Te acuerdas, güey?
I mean, I know, but it's like the last time.
No, güey, los gringos call it tifus.
No, but he was saying the last time we've seen that in a national team game, right?
I don't think we've seen one. I mean, I don't remember the last time I've seen one.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I can't think of the last time I've seen one at a Mexico international game. So it was nice to see that. Like, it makes you, like, be like, shit, that's where the ambience at. Because, over here, like in the U.S., like, who the fuck wants to watch another game at the Cowboys Stadium or God knows where with a bunch of people doing the ole in minute 3 with a bunch of drunk uncles fighting in the stand.
Singing the same old fucking songs.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can tell that over there, like, they're there for the team. They're there to win. They're there to cheer for the team. You know, they're there to be real fans, not just there for social media clicks and mame. You know.
I thought if there's one thing that you're absolutely right that the stadium was the atmosphere was electric. I really liked that stadium, and I'm glad that they played there. And not only that, the European players performed very well in times in years past when we were going to Mexico. We could not rely on those guys, and I thought that was not the case tonight.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think the Aguirre thing had a lot to do with it, like the whole can, because a lot of folks might think it does not. But this team, like the fans in this team, like were not connected. Like like that connection felt off. Like even the fans were like booing this team, a few games ago. And I think if they come back to Toluca with that 2-0 loss, it would have been like, fuck these guys. But the fact that whole can thing happened, it turned more like to like, man, fuck these Hondureños, man. And it like riled up the folks. And like it just became like, yeah, man, fuck these Hondureños, like let's get them. And then that's why someone got revenge for Aguirre and hit one of the Honduras staff members with a can on the head.
No, he fainted because of the altitude, bro. He didn't get hit.
He fainted?
Yeah.
Nah, I'm gonna stick to the rumors. Someone got revenge.
I stick to that one too. 100%. Wait, I saw it. It was on the corner of the camera. You guys didn't see it. Oh, pinche fregadazo a la cabeza.
Hey, Diaz, I was trying to figure out like how much of the weight was on Cruz Azul because they're doing so well in the league, and this lineup didn't really speak. Like everyone thought it was gonna be Cruz Azul and some other fringe players, but Aguirre didn't really use all of them, right?
He didn't use all of them, but Lita got a couple minutes in the first game, which we haven't really talked about. Dude, that first game was fucking amazing. All right, I enjoyed it por la garra que se enseñaron, güey. Like as I had said before, this is the one game where Mexico's gonna be truly tested because you go into a hostile environment where you have to go and try and win. And goddamn, was that game hostile? Putazos left and right. The game ended in hits. We know what happened with Aguirre. Chino was fucking trying to chop people's leg off. Like, dude, it was a beautiful match. All right, that gave you that beautiful fucking je ne sais quoi that only South American football can give you, and that's what I fucking loved. Right, so it was a great game.
Yeah, but we lost 2-0.
Me vale verga, güey. We came back and remounted it. Aquí estoy, güey.
And in today's lineup, what was it? From Cruz Azul, was what? Charlie Rodriguez in the lineup and
Charlie.
Who was that?
I don't call him Huescas anymore.
Number 15.
But that's Huescas. He used to be from Cruz Azul.
No, man. I think he.
The other guy.
I think he copied off Cruz Azul.
What was the guy's name?
Gutierrez.
Oh yeah,
Charlie Rodriguez, Romo. Like you could tell, like he tried to set up that midfield a little bit like Cruz Azul and the way they played. And I'll give Aguirre his props. When he went and looked for more goals, even being up. He threw in Henry, he threw in Chino. Like he went for more goals. It was like he's like, let's just fucking kill him. None of that sitting back, which makes you think. That's why I keep saying, man. I've been hating on Aguirre, but one thing I haven't been hating on is that the coach has to be Mexican. Like, if this intensity was shown in the World Cup against the Saudi Arabia game, Mexico easily wins 4-0.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Well, this is what some of us old timers remember about Aguirre on both of his stints is that he finds his base. First, it was Pachuca, right? And then who was it that he had?
It was Pachuca Cruz Azul.
Yeah, and then right now he's using Cruz Azul and I guess in a sense former America players, right? Add to that, Alexis Vega was decent.
That was probably a lot of the Chiva guys, a lot of the Chi hermanos. A lot of them are probably not with the club anymore.
But I'm not gonna lie, the way the team was functioning, like the way los carrileros estaban corriendo, way, it looked a lot like Cruz Azul. Right. Those runs that Huescas was making, the reason why he was so good at doing them is because that's what he was doing at Cruz Azul already. Right.
Yeah,
that
that's
was
what I'm saying.
and he was doing it so well.
And
He
that's his
copied
style to
off Cruz
find that
Azul
base.
the way it was set
Yeah.
up.
That's what he tends to do. He finds a base to work off of, right? And
So,
right
like,
now, Cruz Azul's a hot team. They're playing damn good ball, right? Why wouldn't you want to play like them?
so while he might have copied that,
give
right,
it-
and like that tactical style might have
Yeah.
maybe dominated the match, the players themselves, the ones that had the greatest impact, were the America players, right?
But
And I hate to admit it.
You had people who were able to serve to them.
That's the key right there. And honestly, and I think Al Pastor made this point earlier about how this was one of the few times where you saw them working as a team. And it's 100% true. It was one of those few times where you saw actual play being built and you saw them amassing to something versus just individuality, right? So it actually gave me a good feeling of work being done versus Tata that was just going on vacations to Argentina constantly.
Yeah, guess who just got unlimited PTO? Tata Martino decided to leave the Inter. Is it Inter? What are they fucking Inter FC?
Enter Miami.
Inter Miami project. So
I think they let him walk, dude, because that was a horrible.
He
They weren't
said for personal reasons, he still has 1 year on the contract.
like they had on the seat, like, dude. They were like, we literally out the front door, man.
I have to ask you guys a question: is he welcome back in Mexico for Liga
Fuck
MX?
no.
Liga MX.
No.
Liga
No.
MX.
No,
Fuck
no,
no.
chingada su madre.
Bro, he wouldn't even accept. He could be offered the job and he wouldn't accept.
You don't
Yeah,
see a team try to sign him. I think somebody in Liga
He
MX
wouldn't
would try to
accept,
sign
man.
him.
Look,
For his own
I don't
mental
think he'd
health,
come.
he wouldn't accept.
Wait, who would want that, bro? He's like the
hated it
fucking,
there.
bad guy.
Every
He's, yeah.
stadium he would go
Look,
to, he would get
Juan
booed.
Carlos
Look, no-
Osorio
He's negative.
is back in Liga MX.
No, but he was
Yeah, but
nowhere
Osorio
near.
left on good terms. Fans wanted him
Yeah.
to stay.
I know,
Yeah,
but
Yeah.
they say like the Mexican national team job is a suicide job, and most coaches don't have a good
but
career
hold on,
after that. But
Yeah, but you're forgetting that it was the World Cup, the Argentina match, and that he left out Santi and he did a bunch of other shit, just like who was it? Diaz. One of you guys just said it. He was not even staying in the country. He just did so much shit that piled up on him.
dude,
Yeah, he felt like a
Aguirre
traitor.
fucked us in 2 World Cups, and he's still
No,
and
he
he's still
didn't.
welcome in
See,
Mexico.
That's the
but-
point I wanted.
But he's
Actually,
Mexican.
He wasn't.
Exactly.
Wait, he wasn't fully welcome. He was
Ese güey tiene
attacked
el
a lot.
nopal en la frente.
A
But I
huevo.
wanted to.
Exactly.
Even though his nickname is Basque, because that's where his family from. But I was
Everybody
say,
thought after Piojo punched the reporter that he was he was never gonna get another job in Mexico, and look at him, he's been fucking on the
no,
carousel.
I didn't
Wait,
think
okay.
that. No,
Like,
come
I was
on.
gonna
about
say
Mexican.
I
earlier,
never thought that.
They get the Mexican
one's gonna
cards like
pay him.
Diaz says. If someone's gonna fuck my sister, it's gonna be me, man. As long as it's a Mexican doing it, it's okay.
I mean, am I
No,
wrong?
but then,
Am I wrong about it? All right. Now, the important thing here is I don't think you can pay him enough security. Like the amount of security detail that Tata would need.
I don't think
24/7.
it's that
There's a
serious
reason why
anymore. It's
Tekashi
been 4
6ix9ine didn't get a
years.
deal.
It's been 4 years.
no. No one's gonna forget,
Hey,
dude.
calm
That's
down, my guy. We're
negative
not
press.
Hondureños over here, right? We don't have
It's
third
gonna
world.
be negative press no matter where he goes.
I
Negative,
just think
negative.
he didn't like being here.
Yeah.
Es un sapo de otro pozo. His own words.
All right. I can see him and somehow I don't know. He might end up in Liga MX. I would not be surprised.
No, he'll get booed the fuck out of it. He doesn't want to
he's going back.
deal
He's
with
gonna
that.
go back to
But he'll be
Argentina.
safe. The fans wouldn't do anything.
I
to
can
him.
see a Rajal
No,
or a
anyone
Tigres
that
going
comes. There's
after
no money
him.
over there.
I mean, at this point, does he
Mm.
even have the resume to do that? All right.
I don't think he
failed at
does, man.
Barcelona. He failed. He failed at La Selección. The only place that he's been successful
ATL
was
ho.
at ATL. That's it. Because he failed at Miami. Like, what the fuck else has he done? He doesn't have the resume anymore.
Yeah, I don't think he does.
He won the prestigious was it Leagues Cup with Miami? What did he win?
That was
Yeah, he did
Columbus.
win Leagues Cup. Yeah, he did.
The first year.
Yeah, it's an official trophy by FIFA, so it probably means something.
All right, so he won one, and then this last one when he had all his reinforcements, get bounced out.
He'll
Columbus
probably
wins it.
First round.
he'll probably land in Argentina, right? He'll probably get a job over there.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Or
Pero-
he might come to Chivas.
No,
No.
There's no way.
That'd
There's
be
no
fucking
way.
hell-
By the way, yo, what's the Chivas rumor right now? Like,
There is no rumor, bro. We can't pull
There is
nothing,
a rumor.
dog.
There is
Oh,
a
did you-
rumor.
you're just poking a dead body
There-
with a stick.
They're waiting
There
to
is.
announce. Hey, they're waiting to announce it when we play or America has some big news. Then we're gonna announce it.
Wait,
No,
si me
man,
dices
that-
el rumor de Matías Almeida, no mames.
Nah, I don't think.
Now, I'll give you a real rumor, man.
A
The
ver.
rumor is that Amauri, you know how he's trying to build that sports complex down there and around the stadium and all that shit.
You still trying to do
He-
that?
Yeah, he's still trying to do that. He wants to offload players, you know, this upcoming market this summer. Chiquete, Cade, other guys gone, whether it's domestic league or abroad. He really wants money for his project to be ready for 2006 World Cup.
2026. Okay. So what? We're just going back to rebuilding.
Yeah, rebuilding, building his sports complex and writing it out with the youth. And you know the thing that pisses me off? That Amauri is a fucking not a contestant. He's a judge on like
Shark
Mexico Shark Tank. I'm like, bro, you need to go be a contestant, man. Because why are you like using Chivas to like fund your projects when you should be funding Chivas, which is your project?
Wait, I thought you had a rumor for us about coaching.
Oh no, not coaching. Cade going to PSV. That was my rumor.
Oh,
Oh, speaking of Cade, speaking of the Trump dance, if Cade does the Trump dance on Thursday after scoring, how many left wing Chiva Hermanos heads explode?
I know one
Hey,
person
US.
one person who's not in this conversation that have a epic meltdown. He goes by the stray goat. You can find the stray goat on Blue Sky. He doesn't. He's not on Twitter anymore.
he left.
And hey, and I wanted to make this announcement today because we're on all different channels. We're on YouTube, Twitter, or now we're on Riverside. We do have Cantina MX is now officially on Blue Sky. If you feel the need to leave this platform and you want to follow us there, by all means, we have an account there, so follow us.
Yeah, I was thinking to say the Mexicans in Mexico won't care.
Oh, I don't know, dude, but
I
would fucking die. I would love it like no other. Porque I'll be honest, dude, I don't think the Mexicans back home even fucking know. Wait, mira, I'm gonna give you guys a tip. They still don't know that you're supposed to flush your toilet paper. They still don't know that.
Wait, no
You
way,
can't
no
do
way.
that. You can't do that in
You
Mexico.
can't, wait. The pipes is different.
I know.
Pinches días, güey.
That's the
¿Cómo sabe
most
que eres bien
beautiful thing.
aburguesado este, güey?
No, güey, sí
Pinche
sé,
vieja.
pero
Pinche
es lo
niño
bonito,
popis,
güey.
No mames, güey.
Bro,
¿Qué, güey? ¿No hicieron tu casa bien o qué? ¿De qué está hecha? ¿De tabique?
What? No, güey, en México, pero en México mi abuela en su casa ni había pinche baño, güey. Y un pozo allá atrás.
Ibas al
Pero si te
pozo,
estás
güey.
cagando en la noche, dude, at night, like, fucking 3 in the morning, dark as fuck, no lights. You heard all
Yo,
the
bro, you all of a
Llorona
sudden
and
don't have to
other
shit.
fucking...
I will be bringing
Yeah.
the next time I go visit my abuelita. I am giving her a bidet. That's gonna be her. That's gonna be her gift, a bidet
No.
With a water warmer?
with the,
Nomás dile
the
cómo-
heated
cómo-
seat and everything, bro.
Ah,
Okay, porque
damn,
no quieres
man.
el chorro frío, güey, eh?
Hey,
Pobre
the-
abuelita.
I
Don't
became.
worry, Jaime. I also got the days of visiting my abuelita over in Juarez and having to go to the outhouse, man.
Oh yeah.
And
Yes, with a bucket of
desert
water.
gets cold. The
Ah,
desert
shit, dude.
gets cold as hell, man.
Oh yeah. It is. Yeah.
And you're worried about going out in the dark and all that stuff too. You're worried about the coyotes and stuff running out.
I know. I remember
Just
the.
away from a mile away, dude.
When I was a kid, I ran the shower water. Like, hey, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I'm waiting for the water to get warm. And they just fucking started laughing at me. They're like, pues gana cubeta y ponla afuera, güey, para que se caliente en el sol. Like, oh shit, my bad, I didn't know. They're over here wondering why I was just wasting water, like waiting for it to get hot. And, like, no, wait, you gotta go fucking.
One of my aunt's house, they had to warm the water.
Yeah.
Ay,
They would
mero, güey.
warm it and then
You gotta-
to
Get a bucket, put in the sun, or boil it, or something, bro. You gotta get creative.
All right, since we're sharing rancho stories, how many of y'all had a cousin that fell into La Noria? All the time, bro. Every single time before I went to visit, they're
I'm
like,
too
hey,
sober
cuidado, se cayó
to
tu primo.
swap cousin stories, bro. We're not there yet.
Wait, no sabes si es una noria.
unos tequilazos antes de. Actually, I don't know what La Noria is, dude. Sounds
No,
like a
man.
stadium.
Pinches pochos, güey.
We're
It's
Latinx,
it's a well.
okay? Latinx. So you need to explain it to us.
Oh,
It's a well. Like your cousin fell down the well. Like
And they got stuck.
los
And then you
pendejos de mi
gotta get
primo
them out.
siempre se caían.
well, I mean, because of like this regional also, so certain words we're bound to use different
we call
words.
it what do we call it? I gotta look it up. I forgot what I call well over there.
Yeah, it wasn't
Puta
that.
noria,
that
cabrones.
Nah, I haven't heard it like that before.
yeah, I never heard it either, man. Where is
Like,
you
what do
from?
you- like,
Diaz?
Because you guys
¿Qué pinche
call.
rancho burrero eres, güey?
All right, I have a question because this will explain it a lot. What do you guys call ants in Spanish?
Diaz.
Is it
Hormigas.
ants, hormigas?
Oh, the hormigas. That kind.
I call them
Esquilines, you've heard it?
I call them masqueles.
Never heard of
Esqueles.
that.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard esquilines
Yeah. So it's like we can say ant like 3 or 4 different ways. It's just that's
Yes,
the,
What do you call mosquitoes?
moscas.
Mm-mm.
too. No,
Those are
no,
flies.
it's flies.
See, my dad's family's from Michoacan. They call them moscos, right?
Uh-huh.
And then over in Juarez, they call them moyotes.
Huh.
Which is the bug
Pinches
with the
palabras de
A?
provincia, carnal.
Do you say moyotes, like moyos?
Yeah, moyotes. Yeah.
Oh, like
You
mayates.
cancel,
Okay.
Codo. Which one is the mayate? Which bug is the mayate though? It's like a bumblebee.
We call I looked it up. We call it pozo for the well.
Pozo, yeah, that's
Yeah.
all I know. Yeah, I know it was.
Yeah.
No sean pendejos, güey.
No,
El
yeah,
pozo.
Este güey Noria
El pozo
vino
para
los pinches
barbacoa,
chinos
no mames.
to put like a fancy.
Here's another
Eres norteño, güey.
here's another
Pinche descodo.
here's another
Sí, güey, pero no soy de puto rancho, ni tampoco de provincia. Otra vez, güey,
I
el
have-
papel de baño se puede hacer flush en mi casa.
I
Ahí
have-
ustedes.
All right, I have another one because I'm super curious what you guys call this in Spanish. The horn on the car. What do you guys call that?
No soy puto, güey, es el
Pito, güey.
claxon.
Klaxon.
Claxon.
Klaxon.
Claxon, también
Yeah.
pito, güey. It's in the codo, you don't use like.
No, güey, tócale el pito.
Nah, see, that's the thing. I've never have actually called it as a noun. I always use the verb pitale. But I've never said, I'll say pitale, pitale. But
You
never,
would've-
like,
you-
Pitazo.
You would have failed your driving test in Mexico.
wow, what is it?
Klaxon.
Wait, what?
Klaxon, yeah.
Klaxon.
Yeah, I know that
I
word.
miss. I guess I come from an educated family because I've never heard that word in my life.
That's the official word, bro. That's not slang or anything.
Yeah, I've never heard that. You know what? You know how Televisa makes novelas and shit? I've never even heard that in the telenovela.
Well, pita's
always say pita.
more for a whistle.
Klaxon in Spanish,
That's right.
bro. Hold on.
Klaxon.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a horn.
Since we're having this like greater Spanish conversation, how do you call for help in Spanish?
Ayuda. Auxilio, right? Is the
Auxilio, yeah.
the
Auxilio is
Auxilio is like
formal.
the one they
Yeah.
taught us in Spanish 1 in high school.
Auxilio is
the
like you're getting
second one?
kidnapped.
Huh?
What about the second one?
I don't know.
Socorro.
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 Yeah,
That's
yeah, I've heard that. Yeah,
Man, that's your Diaz name.
Girls'
man.
name.
yeah. That's
No
like,
mames, güey. No,
Socorro es la señora que va a misa, güey.
It'll be Auxilio Socorro. Yeah,
güey, los mandaron a escuela pública, ¿verdad?
Sí, güey.
Se
Hey.
nota, güey.
I can
No
tell. I
Yeah,
can,
Diaz, you might be Cuban
I
because my
can
girlfriend
tell-
says that in Cuban.
I can
they
tell
say
you were homeschooled. I used to hit on your teacher.
Se la llevó al prom. Back to the
This shit went
Future,
off
güey,
the
tenías
rails,
una
man.
foto. Tienes una foto con la familia, güey. Estabas borrando.
Hey, I want to include my Hondureño friends on here.
Ay,
How do you guys say straw in Spanish?
How do you say what?
Frogs?
It's just
Straw.
straw? Popote.
Yeah, like a straw.
Oh,
Popote?
paja. Tienes ahí paja.
You say paja?
No, I've heard from Central Americans.
Oh no, what do you say though?
Don't they say like
Popote.
They
popote
say pajilla. They say
or
pajilla.
like bombito?
Pajilla.
Like
Oh,
bombito?
yeah, paja is jerking off. You're right,
I've heard
pajilla.
bombillo.
Bombillo?
Hacerse una paja needs to jerk off, yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
You gotta love our
Bombillo, I
language.
think I've heard that too.
You gotta love our language. That's one thing I say. Spanish is beautiful because like even in the same country, different regions, different dialects, different words mean different things. Imagine the rest of the other countries that speak Spanish. It's a crazy world out there. That's why you gotta cross pollinate, and that's why we need to get the fuck out of CONCACAF.
I stand behind it. Now, here's the thing, dude, and I've been putting some thought into it, right? And last time that we spoke, and we had this conversation of, all right, what's the point of Nations League, right? It doesn't really serve for anything. It doesn't really do anything, but at least not for us, right? But now let's look at the Dominican Republic, the DR. They have just been able to get themselves promoted into League A of the League's Cup. They were playing in the lower tiers, playing against the little islands that Mexico would fucking destroy if we went up against.
Yeah.
So now Puerto Rico has been able to move themselves up to get into these spots. And now we're going to be playing against Mexico. If anything, what
Wait,
should
Puerto
happen,
Rico or Dominican Republic? You said both.
Dominican Republic. You know what, bro? They're the fucking same. They're the same.
Tell that to a Boricua.
Me valen verga, güey. ¿Sabes qué? Déjame ver una pinche R o una L. La que tú quieras, carnal. You can't say a fucking L in Spanish.
So is there what 3 levels to this? C, B, and A?
Yeah.
And they were in the B and they got promoted?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, good for them. They're gonna get fucking their shit pushed in when they come up, dude.
Well, like that's the thing, right? So the biggest thing is it was a Dominican Republic, my bad. So the biggest thing is the winner of that should get probably Gold Cup. Mexico doesn't need to be playing Nations League. We need to be playing Gold Cup. So you know what? Let the Nations League be for these lower teams that don't really have a chance of getting into the Gold Cup.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for like the lower, like the C and the B teams, like getting a shot to maybe play against us. Like that's cool, but what the fuck do we do on the top, man? It's cold up here.
The problem is the international breaks and how it's set up. This World Cup qualification for South America, and they have the Nations League for Europe. So who would you realistically play? I think Asia also has their World Cup qualifications.
Yeah.
So unless you're going to play a team in Oceania or Africa.
Or you do what they did last time, which was play against like club teams. I mean, Mexico played against Valencia.
Yeah, and not all Euro teams are gonna play when there's some that rest. So I mean, it's just way more planning to play the game. I mean, it was more difficult, but I mean, you could still get games.
Yeah, and so I just look at this like I'm like, all right, so we beat Honduras, looking good, and then our next game is until fucking March. It looks like we're gonna be playing against Canada, and USA will be playing against Panama. So it's like, okay. What was the point of us putting fucking Liguilla on hold, man? We should have just fucking pushed through.
But those are going to be good games for Mex going into the World Cup. Canada and US. I mean, great
Not
preparation
really.
games too. Those two teams have been seen as above
We've
Mex.
seen too
So
much of
now
each other,
it's
man. It's time to see other people.
no.
I'm sure Abdias has used that line.
I think they're going to be good matchups, man. But
Well, the problem I also have is that this is just the semifinals again is going to be in the United States again. So what good is it to do any of this
Rick,
stuff if we don't ever get to host any of these quote unquote major tournaments in the region?
wait, so the final is a neutral site? That's bullshit.
Well, they call it a neutral site, but it's the last 3 times it's been in the U.S.
Wow, that's whack. Yeah, I think like after what we saw today with Toluca being a really good host, I would love to see Mexico see this whole tournament through. If they, end up beating Canada and be able to host the final, like in Mexico, that would have been deserving, right? That was the point of having a neutral site like US.
And that should it has effect because you remember how Pachuca for the the Conca champions they got moved over down there to Mexico. Boom,
Yeah.
bro, and they clobbered their opponent.
Yep.
So I mean, people think, oh well, it doesn't matter. There's gonna be Mexico fans in the stadium regardless. Nah, there's a difference
There's a
between
difference.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a difference as we can see like the ambiance tonight was much better. Much more I think fan friendly and less cringy and less Latinx. It was the real thing.
Yeah, it reminded me like of the early 2000s at Azteca, which is like smaller.
Mm. I'm actually a fan of a more intimate stadiums because like it ends up being more intimidating. I mean, that's what Honduras tried to do, and it worked to their favor on Friday. That was not their like San Pedro de Sula. It wasn't their main stadium. It was a smaller stadium.
I just think Mexico needs to do a better job of exposing their opponents to the elements. To their elements, they haven't been doing it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long it's been since they had a game at Azteca, like in the middle of the day, under the hot sun in that
Oh,
altitude, man.
yeah.
I can't remember. They used to use their elements, but obviously the televisoras want the primetime game, more money, better advertising. All
Gerardo
that crap.
Torrado used to come out with whiteface.
Yeah,
Dude, I know the televisoras, get a lot of heat for that, but I wouldn't be surprised if, as more players start going over to Europe, that even the players on those meetings came up and said, like, "Hey, man, this shit's inhumane. Like, we're playing here too. Like, let's keep it
what
like
did happen?
nighttime."
I mean, when we did have a huge influx of players in Europe, I mean that's when we
Yeah.
saw the influence. But in
Yeah.
reality, it was more for TV ratings and seeing that there was an audience here in the States that was not going to
Yeah.
watch that
There you
match.
go. And the sponsors, that's the money.
Yeah.
The World Cup games in Mexico aren't they going to be midday because of the European time zone difference between the Americas and Europe?
Last time they were, when 94, what time do you remember? They were
Well, they were
around
all played midday.
midday. Yeah, so should probably be the same.
Well, I mean, the World Cups is back on schedule, right? As far as it being in the summertime.
Yes, sir.
So they're probably going to try to avoid having those, triple digit
No
weather.
way, it's TV way.
I don't
Dude, they
think so,
played it,
dude.
and we want that triple.
Remember,
That's how it was played. That's how it was
They're
played.
going to
in
try to
94.
have as many
So,
night games
but-
as possible, bro.
well, yeah,
No
but there's
way,
also going to be
no.
a couple things that are going to be changing, right? So now you get 5 subs. Now you also have an expanded roster, and
Yeah,
if they don't do this right, they
Fucking
need to
Panini books
regulate
gonna be-
hydration breaks, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
there will probably be hydration breaks.
Because there's definitely
It's
going to
that
be
way.
hydration breaks. If anything, the thing that we need to work out now is when and where and make them regular, right? That's how we can control this, and that's the way it's going to happen, man.
There's probably going to be like a 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock game. Something like that. I doubt there's going to be a game before like noon. Maybe
mid game,
not.
bro, mid game, because of the different markets, the different. It's not just Europe anymore. It's Asia. A lot of
But
money.
también, way, like, look at us. Take us for example, dude. We're across fucking what, four different time zones, at least 3.
In the States,
Hey,
there's only
man.
3.
Yeah,
There's only
The
3.
there's
Korea,
4. What the fuck are you
Japan,
talking about?
There's 4.
Mountain.
Central.
Mountain.
World
Oh,
Central and
Cup.
Mountain.
I forgot about Mountain Time.
Nah, man.
Who-
It's our time to shine. They gotta adjust to our schedule.
Exactly.
I got up at
Jaime.
2,
That's
3,
what I'm
4
thinking.
a.m. for Korea, Japan.
What's up,
They
Elbow?
can do the same.
For Korea, Japan, no mames.
I did want to touch on something that
Yeah.
that we didn't touch on the game today, and that's that
What are we touching?
and
Codazo?
I was
It's safe.
I'll be over in about
See,
6
guys?
hours. Joel.
We go on video once, and this is what happens.
I have my stress toy right here.
No, I mean it's just watching the video here. Jaime reminds me of a happy version of a Mauri Vergara.
Yeah, I hate to tell you guys, but I am related to the Vergaras.
He's president.
They're trying to keep that a
No,
secret
but-
for a while.
So what I wanted to touch on was we had goals by the strikers.
We had goals
Martin.
from
Martin.
Raul
Yeah.
scored?
Raul scored.
Yeah. Yes, he did.
Martin scored one, and then a
Captain
penal,
Cripple.
right? So what I wanted to touch on is that for Santi Jimenez needs to pay very close attention to this. I know he's younger, but he's going to need to up his game because Raul
Yeah.
is playing well right now.
Santi,
Martin
is
hasn't
he
been
good.
He's still injured, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's gonna. I'm sure he watched the game, right? And Martin came in and performed, right? After he didn't play all that long, but he performed. So he's gonna need to up his game to make sure that he's keeping up with these guys. It's no more. Just because you play in the Netherlands and score there, you're
Yeah.
I
gonna get
mean,
a free ride.
I'll be honest.
And that's what that team needs.
I haven't really seen Santi take the throne and be like, "This is my starting spot." Like he's
No.
even in the final,
Nope.
in the Gold Cup final, he came in as a sub. He wasn't a starter, so
Right.
I don't think he's ever had his hand on the starting striker lineup. But I want to see 2 strikers, like kind of like how we had it today, right?
Taking those risks, yeah, I'm all for that to do that, especially with these CONCACAF teams. Every once in a while, you're gonna have to take those risks, especially when they're doing the bunkering thing.
Yeah. I know we're like about 2 years away from the World Cup, but I still think there's still this lineup or these group of players. I don't think it's permanent. I think we might still see somebody spring up in the next year or two, especially with Rifado keeping tabs on all the youngins. I think maybe one of them will pull through for the roster. We'll see.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I mean, Raul, Henry, they're doing well. But this is like the 3rd prime I see Raul hit. And it's always like 18 months before the World Cup. So, how old is he going to become the World Cup? 33, 34? Like, I don't think he's going to be the starter during the World Cup. If it's not Santi, somebody else is going to spring up. There's no way he keeps up this momentum for that long.
Raul's
And then-
33, so he'll be like 35. I mean, he'll be 35 by then.
Yeah, ain't no way he's a starting striker.
And
man.
Henry Martinez, how old is he? He is
About the same age
He's
too.
32. Yeah, dude. So maybe Rifado's like Beetlejuice. You say his name and he just pops up on screen.
Yeah, because I don't necessarily know how many of those youngsters, aside from what do we got? Ormiga's one of them, and I don't know, but there's not a whole lot of young strikers too. Most of the guys are playing in the mid, right?
You look at like what Memo Martinez. He's also really old.
And he's a tronco.
Sepulveda, he's old. They're all over 30. We don't really have like I mean, Santos is really the only youngin out there.
Yeah, and then speaking of the striker scoring, it was also important to note that they actually had open play goals too. It's been a while since you've seen the strikers score open play goals, and then with that, that's another thing. Like in Santi's defense, like I said earlier, the fans, the relationship with the national team was like on a thin string. and Santi was part of those games. But if this attitude changes and like we're all back on board, the players are on board and everything like that, I think he comes back to a different dressing room and a different ambience, and it might actually help him. And then Alexis Vega, man, he needs to keep playing like how he did tonight. He was key. He played a great game. He was heavily involved, and he also like played like that street style. Like it wasn't like he was getting hit and he was like dropping. No, he was like getting hit, taking the hit, dishing it back out, and at the same time passing the ball between your legs. Like this is the type of game he needs to play at the international level if he wants to take that next step up.
He was super comfortable because he was playing in his home stadium, Toluca, and yeah, he looked good. He looked like his former self, his older self that we all fell in love with. And I don't know if he'll make it to 2026. We'll see. There's still a lot of people on this roster. I'm still skeptical about making that last 2 years. Go ahead, Rifal.
Hey, thanks for letting me back in. Sorry, I had some stuff to do, but I just wanted to touch on the what's it called, on the Mexico attack. Like part of the reason we were able to attack as often as we were is that Honduras, their star man who scored 2 goals against us, I think his last name is Palmas, he had a niggling injury. He didn't have an ounce of the pace he had on the previous game, and he was subbed off at halftime. So one thing that really worked in our favor is the fact that Honduras is paper thin in regards to depth. And so, like, we were able to just really attack without, them, with them basically being toothless for a lot of the game because, Choco Lozano also injured. And now this Palmas kid, who was just phenomenal the last game, was a ghost of what he was because obviously he was injured. The first half, the announcers on TUDN, I noticed they're like, hey, this guy's pace is way off. This guy is like not like the player that we saw last week. There's something wrong with him. And then he was subbed off at first half. And that really allowed us just to dominate because they even without those 2 star players, they were dangerous at times, but like our defense snuffed out like any chance. And then Malagon came up big. And just kudos to Malagon. He really needs to cement himself as the star guy because Memo ain't it.
I noticed a huge difference in the back with Ochoa versus Malagon. And I know it's easy to make that analysis based on, Ochoa gave up 2 goals, but I did see a different presence in the back. I saw more security, especially in the aerial balls. And yeah, I think we need to just, I know Ochoa is going to fight to get into a 6th World Cup and make history, and I'm sure he will, but he's not, he should not be the starting goalkeeper anymore.
Yeah, he shouldn't. We were talking about Santi and him paying attention. If Ochoa walks away from this game and says, "Oh no, I got to find a way to be a starter," he needs to fuck off, drop him. But if he's like, "All right, you know what? I'm just gonna hop on as that experienced guy on the roster and make my 6th World Cup," cool, let him go. He's earned it. But no way should she walk away from this game and thinks that he still deserves that starting spot.
And who needs to have that conversation with him?
Honestly, dude, this is probably a conversation that his own staff, his own team needs to have this conversation with him. Because he's not there anymore.
This is a conversation Aguirre needs to have with them. I don't know who's is Oscar Perez the coach for the goalkeepers? Who is the coach?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
and like Conejo had to do it too. Conejo had to do it too at one point, right? So wait, it's
not in
time
2010.
to let it go.
Not in 2010.
Hey, you know what? But this ain't it, man. We're happy that Aguirre's showing us a new face, right? So Memo, it's time to let it go, my dude. All right, because look, and it was said this weekend by El Piojo Ortiz, right? It was like, está muy de moda echarle mierda a Memo Ochoa, verdad? Like it's very easy to shit on him right now, but you know what? I have been on his fucking neck for the past 4 years, bro. Every single time that I come out here, I'm slandering Memo Ochoa. I'm telling you that he's nothing more but a fist fucking whore. Like, he is not good for the Mexican national team. And I've been consistent with this message. And now here we are, and it's time for him to let go, man.
Yeah.
Like it's been said, like, yo, you know what? We need experience in the back. Let's say everything goes to shit and the goalie gets kicked out. We need somebody who's gonna be able to hold it together. Fuck it, put Memo in, right? Because I promise you this, Memo no va a estar tirando putazos like Magallon did today.
Oh yeah. I also that was another part of it. The
Like,
rinksmanship. They call it in boxing the rinksmanship, but like, yeah, that was his fucking box, bro, and nobody was allowed to fuck with him. And he ended up, messing around with that one dude that looked like a poor man's Camavinga. And he held his territory. And like, bro, that's the kind of shit you need. And I don't think Ochoa would have done anything.
no, Ochoa would have fallen. That's what Ochoa would have
Ochoa would have been like, you fucked up my perm,
and he would
bro.
have been like, like crying for like a card or something. While Magallon not just fucking grabbed him by the neck, by like the scruff, like pushed him back in. I was like, fuck out of here, dude.
Yeah. You like to see
And
that.
And then there was definitely some fisticuffs and kicks that happened.
I also think Orozco played real well too. The back line played well, I thought, as well. So, yep. And then if you look at that first goal in Honduras, I mean, that was a terrible giveaway. I mean, you could blame Ochoa; he might have done better, but that was atrocious.
Yeah, Cesar Montes was definitely at fault for that first goal in that first leg, and everybody likes to blame it Ochoa because he spit it out. He didn't parry it to the side or try to hold on to it. He gave the striker the option to rebound it, and it went in. And I think it was more on the sequence there with the back line. But yeah, Ochoa. What are the chances that he stays in Portugal after this season? I'm sure he's on a 1-year contract.
His team's about to get relegated again. Yeah. Like, what the fuck is he gonna do? Go to another team? Like I said it earlier, right? So every couple of years, it's every years, and then it depends on what's going on. There's this image of Chuy Corona and all of the hardware that he has, right? And how he's been able to, it's the gold medal. It was the Panamericanos. It was Campeón de Campeones and a whole bunch of other shit, right? Copa MX and blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. Now, when you look at Memo, what trophies has he won? What has he won? The whole thing about Memo is he's an Ajax. He has one championship with America. Actually, I think two for when he came back.
The thing is that Memo has won over the world during the World Cups.
Yeah.
World Cup comes around.
And how have we
people
played?
know him for that, man. You remember after Russia, they interviewed that Russian or German guy and they asked about Memo. He's like, Memo's una verga, way.
Yeah.
Like he's just known around the world for being one of the faces of Mexican soccer, bro. And it's due to the World Cup, because even the meme between like foreigners is, where does this guy play the other 4 years? We only see him during the World Cup.
Yeah, he always steps up for the World Cup, and yeah, I mean, I'm finding a very hard time thinking about his accomplishments.
Dude, I've been consistent on this one. It's not just a fucking trend of like, oh yeah, no, let's all shit on Memo. No, bro, where are his trophies? Where are his accomplishments?
Isn't it hard though as a goalkeeper to be like, because to win like a lot of titles? I feel like it's very difficult, right? You have to be on a lucky team.
Yes, sir.
I don't know. Isn't it hard as a goalkeeper to relegate all of your teams?
You make it seem like it's his fault those teams get relegated.
And it's
a hard team to play.
Güey, a mamarle la verga. Dime, güey, how do the sandwiches taste? Does he toast the bread? Or are they like nasty que te pega al paladar?
No,
tampoco saben la palabra paladar.
Pinche pan integral, güey, doble fibra.
No honey wheat here.
I think it's I get it. People are not liking him. He does have his faults. I'm not saying it's perfect. I just don't agree with the whole he should quit, he should retire. You're going to get to that point. My guy, You get older one day, y también si sabes que vete a chingar a tu madre, güey. And it's gonna be up to you though, man. So it's not like he sucks completely, because to do what he's doing, and to keep finding clubs and in Europe, you're not gonna do that. Especially with the team facing relegation, they're not gonna purposely put in a goalkeeper that fucking sucks. So I mean, they're gonna put the best guy they have to try to, because they're fighting for that. So I mean, he's in teams that are week in week out fighting. What you guys cry for, Liga MX brings back. And when you have the guy doing it
Well,
week in week out, and you just shoot on him.
you gotta look at patterns. You gotta look at the most common denominator on all the teams he's been on. It's like, yo, what's one pattern that we noticed with all these teams that got relegated? It's
because
he was the starting goalkeeper.
I know, but that means he was better than the other two guys there.
I think Memo's fault is having a shitty agent, because I think the guy could have played on better teams, right?
Look,
You gotta have it.
I agree.
You gotta
No.
go ahead.
He also messed up not staying in France, because he could have had a Euro passport. He fucking left. He should have
Mira,
just
el
stayed
pinche
there.
anciano por fin dijo algo que tenía razón. That's exactly it. He's got a great fucking agent, because any other beaner would have been bounced out by now. Pero a Memo, lo que nunca le ayudó es que tenía el pasaporte mexicano. Until recently, did he get that European passport?
Yeah.
Oh, and
That's
here's
the
the
thing that
thing.
always held him back, way the fuck back.
I have a
Wait,
quick
but
question
then-
for Joel. Joel, I got a quick
Yes.
question for you. How does it feel to be called the anciano when I got about 3 or 4 years of age on you, man?
Oh, I don't mind. I don't mind, bro. It's
It's more of a sign of respect, porque siempre dice pendejadas that only an old man would say.
no.
I got Gen Z and Gen Alpha calling me Unk, and they're like just they're not that much younger than me.
Alpha? What's Gen Alpha?
The gen that comes after, they were basically born in the iPad babies.
Like 2010
Oh,
and up?
shit.
It's anybody being born right now is Gen Alpha.
Oh shit.
Yeah, you guys didn't know that? Gen Z.
Everyone needs a generation, bro. Like
I didn't even
everybody
think
belongs
about
to
it after
something.
they ran out of.
Yeah. No, it's just like a common thing for young people to call people that are that much not that much older than, but exaggerate. Like, oh, what's up, Unk?
Damn, bro. No, I mean, I'm not lie. When that first happens to you, it hits you, dude. I was at the Mexican store, and this like young 18-year-old girl, like she was working the cash register. And, you know, I'm in my early 30s, and she's like, "Señor, cuando esté listo."
Oh.
No, she said don. She said don. She said
Ah.
don cuando esté listo.
Nice, nice.
And I was like,
Well,
oh,
hey, you're Don Al Pastor, so she knew.
There you go.
she probably tunes in.
What is the difference that she
No.
would have called you daddy?
We will, you will feel really, 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 really old when you're at the mall or at a Walmart or whatever, and there's a young kid crying, and the mom's like, if you keep it up, ese señor te va a llevar. And they look at you, and they point at you, and you're like, oh, no.
What the fuck?
No, I am not the señor. I am not the señor. No.
Oh damn.
Wait till that happens to you. That's when you know you're a grandpa.
Damn.
Yeah, I've gotten used to going to Cardenas over in Pittsburgh, Jaime, and the girls are all gracias, señor, and you're like, then a usted muchacha. I guess they're calling them muchacha now.
Bro, at least you're not saying señorita. Like, good for you.
There you go. No, it's muchacha. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think so. I want to go back to the Memo thing. I think, Jaime, when you were saying who needs to have that conversation with him, if he's not going to be a starter, because again, we don't necessarily know how seriously Vasco's taking it, right? But it has to be his conversation with Ochoa and say, hey, what I'm looking at is Malagon and what's his name? If you want to be our third, excuse me. If you want to be our third guy, as an emergency,
Second,
by all
we're like
means,
second right now.
but he has to have that conversation with him.
Yeah.
I think they already did have it. Memolas already said that he plans to make it. That's his goal, at least the World Cup, and I think he's going to work hard, and that's what you need with the selección. And I don't think he should just be gifted. As long as he's working hard, that means the other goalkeepers also need to step it up. It's like you were saying earlier about Santi with Jimenez there. He needs to step it up now. Before it was just enough that he was in Europe, but now there's more players there challenging. That's something that it's been lacking with the national team, and so it's good that you have all these players fighting for a position within the squad, and even for Ochoa to know that it the spot is not his, and Malago know that he has this guy breathing down his neck. So I think that internal competition is good, is good for the team. I wouldn't be for like, no, you know what, just fucking retire. You could say the same of Henry Martin. I mean, there's still 2 years. Just keep that competition going. I mean, I think the players that are really professional, if they work out and everything, they're still an asset, you know. I think we've gotten used to some of these Mexi players that are just they let themselves go, and by the time they're 34, they look like they could be playing, you know, in the retirement league. But
when that was the thing years ago, Joel, is that there was internal competition, and
yeah,
and I think that's what made Mexico's team competitive. Uh, and to see Vasco trying to do that and use some of like his old wise ways of finding a base, right? Like using, you know, Cruz Azul as kind of the spine of the team. It looked good today. It looked really, really good, and you know, knowing him, he's probably going to continue to use that until it doesn't look good anymore.
Look, I have no
And that
problem if Aguirre says these are the three goalkeepers I'm going to take to the World Cup. I have no problem. I like this group, but I also don't want to rule out a possibility of Alex Padilla if he's killing it at Bilbao. Like I also would not be against having a younger person join the goalkeeping carousel. But the one thing that's like Aguirre needs to have that conversation with Ochoa and say, hey, look, like I'll take you. You want your sixth World Cup? You know, stay healthy, stay competitive, you know, stay employed, and you'll be in there. But, you know, we are moving in this direction with Malagon or whatever he decides to, you know, choose as the starting goalkeeper.
And also, man, Ochoa's a weirdo, bro, because like him going to this Portuguese team makes zero fucking sense. Because he could have gone to MLS, got in a nice paycheck, and still be called up to the national team. So I don't
Well,
know what he's doing over in Portugal, fighting relegation with some team no one's ever heard of, some team that's not going to make Conference League, Europa League, nothing, and he's probably not getting paid much.
well, isn't that the whole thing, right? Because I was about to actually put this on the table. Has anybody heard any more rumors about Memo joining San Diego? I'm talking to you, Rifado, especially with you being down there, because last that I heard, that's the reason why he went um, to where he did, because he was just waiting for that spot to open up. He goes there and he's not doing what, who is it? Chucky?
Yeah, Chuki's the DP, and I don't know who else they've announced as like franchise players at that new expansion team in San Diego, but I think like the Ochoa like rumors kind of like fell off, and he ended up having to, you know, take whatever was available, and that was to go to some team in Portugal.
You know, what I will say about that is that when the president was asked, he did not rule it out. You know, he did that, I don't know, that double speak, where it's like, we haven't asked him, but it's not to say that he's off the table. I'm not going to rule out anyone. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he came. But, you know, since we're on Ochoa, and I've heard, you know, a lot of takes on him, I will say that he's really good with his feet. If you check out his games, like, yeah, he gets scored on a lot, but like he also has like wonderful highlight reel. Like, you know, if anyone looks at all the saves that he's done over the years, it's really impressive. And I'm not advocating for him. I think we're done with him. I would love Padilla to be our third keeper, but you know Ochoa, he has some relevancy, like Joel is saying. Like he still got it. He did shit the bed on on the Honduras home game. I thought he looked really weak. On that second goal, especially the first one.
But despite the torrential
It bounced the
downpour,
wrong way. Yeah. So with the downpour, it's hard, right?
yeah,
But like,
I mean,
it complicates things. But like, it by no means was on him. Like that goal was Montes all day.
All right. I found the Tifu that they used for the game, and I need some help identifying the third player. Let me see if I can put it in the chat on Twitter. Anyways, now that we're done with Nations League, we can now refocus on the play-in. We're gonna have Chivas, we're gonna have Atlas, we're gonna have America, we're gonna have Tijuana. I know we kind of already made predictions on our last episode, but have those predictions changed since we last spoke?
No, I still feel confident. I still think, we've said it before, the world will conspire to give us America Chivas and Liguilla. Because let's be honest, I want to watch that. Don't you want to watch that? And look, here's the most important thing. In order for that to happen, America needs to get humbled. And I want them to get humbled so fucking hard. To them, where Chivas comes in, and at that point, you might be able to scrap together a win.
Nah, man. Tijuana's at home, and Juan Carlos Cambios, he knows that if he beats them and he goes far, he leaves Cholos for a bigger paycheck at Monterrey, America, or some team like that. I think America loses.
Well, like that's the thing. If Juan Cambios beats them, America loses. America goes and has to play Chivas now, while what's it called? Cholos goes directly to play.
I think they
Who do they play?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, who would be their bracket?
I don't have that map in front of me right now.
Is it I think it'd be like I don't know. I have to double check.
So back to the America talk. So Henry Martin only played one half, less than a half, right? And Zendejas played like 5 minutes this last game. So they should be at full strength when they return to America. And then they are gonna miss like people like the Uruguayan Brian, and then Caceres, and then the Paraguayan guy. What's his name? Sanchez. So they are missing important players for their play-in. But one on the bright side is Zendejas and Henry Martin should be at full strength and well rested. So that's one thing for them. My prediction still stands. I think Cholos is going to beat them 3-2 or 3-1.
It's a bold prediction. Yeah, I don't know. I think everyone had a reset with this break, and Chiquete obviously had full minutes. And Chivas are in a position that they have to win. Like they're playing Atlas, and I don't know. I mean, they lost that matchup in the regular season, so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
The Chivas inconsistency is what really is bothering me right now.
It all depends on Cade Cowell. Like if I'm being completely honest, he's been our X factor this season. The team looks a lot better when he's playing, and if you have him and Piojo, I think we have a chance.
Is Hormiga healthy?
I've seen him get a couple minutes here and there. I know did he score the other day? But I think Ricardo Marin is going to be our starting striker unless Chicha somehow has recovered. I know they've been slowly trying to spring him back into the starting lineup.
So Cade Howell only had about 10 minutes in this last game, so he should be well rested. He didn't get injured like he did last window when he played for the U.S. men's national team. So, that's a plus. Hormiga is coming back from injury. And then, Chicha's supposed to be back. He was subbed in the other game. So I think we're still missing Piojo Alvarado, though, who is probably the most important of the bunch.
Mm-hmm.
But and Chiquete is going to be tired, right? He played the full game,
Yeah,
and that might be detrimental to Chivas's chances. Hopefully not, because he did play great, and so while he may be tired, he will be full of confidence because he was probably one of the best players out there.
So
All
I
right,
didn't
guys.
get a chance.
Dale.
I wasn't in on the last couple of podcasts, but watching that guy that Chivas had called up, was it Dune Wilkie or whatever? Is that his name? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Antioquia.
Yeah. Man, that dude ran around like a freaking mongoloid, man. I couldn't stop laughing at watching him play. Don't get me wrong, it's nice to have some size and all that stuff, but that guy looked like hella uncoordinated. Is he still on the roster, or did they send him back down?
I'm not sure. I don't think they've announced the call up for this upcoming game.
Okay.
Now, really quickly, I was able to pull up the Liguilla format and how it would work. So, Chivas Atlas, right? That's set. America versus Cholos. Whoever it is that loses the America Cholos games has to go against
the winner.
the winner of
Chivas
either
Atlas. Yeah.
Andale Papa. So now the winner of America Cholos would go directly against Luca.
Oh, okay.
So honestly, I would like to see a Cholos versus Toluca.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That'd be a really good match. So Cholos beats America, comes in wicked hot, goes into Toluca, has both home and away. Dude, that's attractive football right there. I'm watching the shit out of that. If anything, just for the ambience, because I don't know what they call El Caliente, ¿verdad? Cholos,
Yep.
El Caliente y La Bombonera, they go fucking hard, bro. So why wouldn't you watch that? And then if everything goes according to plan, y pues, America gets humbled, Chivas viene envergado, humbles America once again, and then you come home to Papa.
You come home to that shitty ass stadium, Estadio de Deportes.
Wow.
Fucking dumpster of a stadium. Should have been demolished a couple years ago and didn't.
You know what? They tried shutting it down, and even the mayor of Mexico City was like, el pinche alcalde de Ciudad de Deportes es un pendejo que me va a mamar la verga. Open that bitch back up.
Real quick, we have somebody joining us on the Twitter Spaces. Richard, welcome to Cantina. You got any thoughts on the Mexico-Honduras match?
Yeah, man. I didn't expect, Mexico to lose. There's a lot of help that they still need. I feel that nowadays, the players, they don't have the passion for la Playera Verde. So, I'm glad to see they won. I didn't expect less. But, they definitely got to be playing, better teams, especially when it comes to friendlies.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have a dog in the fight? Do you have any team you support?
Personally, honestly, man, I only like watching La Selección when they play. I'm not really into like Chivas, Pumas, America. But one of my uncles does play soccer. I think right now he plays for Pumas. His name is Jesus Molina. He played for Chivas, I think, previously. He's my dad's cousin.
Oh shit. Yeah. He was a veteran when he came to Chivas. We traded somebody from we traded to get him from Monterrey if I'm not mistaken.
Tigres.
Yeah, he was at Rayados for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, was he at Tigres?
No, Rajados.
Huh.
Yeah, Jesus Molina. Yeah, he also played for America, right? At one point. He's been around. I forgot he was still
Yeah,
playing.
he had
You know
surgery
what?
last year.
Look, I'm not trying to turn this into a hot seat or anything, but Ayo Richard, since you don't really keep up with Liga MX, you kind of follow La Selección when they play. What football do you follow? Are you watching more overseas? Are you watching Libertadores? Are you a wild man? Are you watching like the Saudi League, the K League? Where are we at?
Honestly, bro, I'm a high casual when it comes to La Selección. So like, I really only really know like I said, I only really like paying attention to them like when they play like an international friendly, like today, for example. But back in the day, I did used to watch the Champions League a lot, especially when Javier Hernandez played for Manchester United. The last time I really watched soccer like that is when Manchester United lost to Barcelona. I think it was like 3-1.
Yeah, 2011.
2011. Yeah, bro. That's the last time where I followed it like every freaking game, man. But since then, it's only been when Mexico plays, honestly.
You know what, man? That's honestly the best answer you could have given me. Fuck everything else that happens overseas. I don't care. Like, that's why the name is Papi Pemex. All I care is about the Mexican domestic product. ¿Verdad? That's why I watch Liga MX. I OD on that shit every weekend. And then on La Selección.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, like a lot of our listeners and a lot of people that follow the national team, they're probably same as Richard, where they're casual, they're not really following it from day to day, and probably don't even follow Liga MX as much anymore. So yeah, that's totally. I mean, and we see that when we go to, at least when I go cover the Mexican national team here in the States. A lot of these people can't even name me a couple players. They're just there to have fun because it's a thing to do. Go to a Mexico game, get fucked up, say homophobic chants, and be on your way home, dude.
I mean, what's more Mexican than that? Come on. If you're lucky, you might even get to stab somebody in the fucking parking lot.
I shouldn't be laughing at that because that happened at Levi's. They got stabbed in the damn near heart in the game, actually. It was pretty scary.
See? Even luckier, dude. He got it in the game. You get to sue someone.
And I think I think it was last year, guys, or earlier this year. I think it was like in Toluca Stadium, weren't they like killing fans? Like there was like a whole war in the stadium, like because of there was like a big.
Tijuana.
Oh, that was in Tijuana. I thought it was another part of Mexico where like the fans ran to the field and like
Querétaro, Atlas.
Querétaro Atlas.
Ah, yeah, there we go.
That was a beautiful day in Mexican soccer history.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they covered that up, man. Because
Yeah,
there was,
they did.
from what I saw, there was some casualties, and then they said there wasn't.
Yeah, they said there wasn't, and Querétaro got a year ban. They couldn't play with any fans for a year, and it was pretty bad.
They were supposed to sell the team. They have yet to do that.
Yep.
No one wants to buy them.
Typical, sketchy shit that happens in Liga MX.
Yeah, I came on here and I told y'all, like, nah, bro, there was casualties. Like, I've been following the Mexican feeds, and this is what's happening.
Yeah.
And it's wild.
What was crazy is like they beat them till they died, and then they stripped them naked, dude. That's what was crazy to me.
That was definitely some cartel type of shit, dude.
And you know what?
I believe it was associated.
It was that, and it had a lot to do with las cementeras. Like, wait, en Cruz Azul se matan a pinches tubazos. Like, it's the way that type of money is handled down there. It's wild how much power the cement companies have. Pero, a really interesting thing that I was going to bring up was que sabes que, güey, se me olvidó. And I'm like, just swimming out here. So, you know what? You take over.
Oh, man. I'm just looking at...
no, güey. Ya me acordé.
Oh.
A Tony, güey. A Tony, por andar de picudo, güey. Se lo tronaron afuera de Tijuana. So, Tony, este año, there was a fight inside of Tijuana that kind of escalated, right? To get involved and things like that. El vato se puso picudo, and apparently the fight continued in the parking lot, and they shot him.
Oh,
right?
shit.
And his name was Tony. And the only reason why I know that his name was Tony was because the girl who's over his body is just continually, Tony, no mames, Tony, despiértate. And no, chicas, se lo tronaron. Like, por picudo, se lo tronaron. And you know how I knew he was an asshole? He was wearing white skinny jeans.
Damn.
That's how you know, bro. Like, that's the mark. White skinny jeans and a bedazzled Ed Hardy shirt.
I stand corrected with Habibi. He did share some footage of a player getting hit by what was like a water bottle.
I think it's one of the coaches, one of the assistant coaches, and they were trying to play it off like it was a heat stroke or an altitude.
I shared the video in the chat. It was a player because he's wearing a bib and everything. But there was a separate thing that happened where the one of the coaches got because of the altitude got a little bit winded.
I see. I saw it and I thought it was that guy. My bad.
I think the best ongoing joke on Twitter is like they always identify and blame it on Chuyon, or was it Chuyazo? What's his name? Yeah, it's fucking
Chuyol, El Chuyazo, and the fact that like TV networks pick up on it and run with it.
They're like, we identified it was costly. What was it? They fucking they used to
El jugador legendario, costly. It's like, no mames, güey.
And then today they put they found him. It's a Jesus Montezuma Hernandez. It's the joke that just keeps on giving. But somebody put a screenshot capture of him giving us a shout out. I think FC Gorditos engaged with him because he said the Cantina Meki's name. So I'm like, okay.
Pa que vean.
Yeah, what a world we live in. Everything on the internet is just like intertwined with each other. And yeah, we're at the 2-hour mark, guys. Not sure if you guys have any closing thoughts, but want to put a bow tie on this episode. 442, Mexico beating Honduras 4-0 and getting into the semifinals in the Nations League. They play Canada in March. Who's up?
I was gonna ask, guys, what do you guys think Mexico needs to do to be able to be a competitive team again? And the reason I reference that is, we've been getting destroyed by USA, man. Almost all their players, they have a lot of, European players. They have amazing players, Gio Reyna, for example, Pulisic, Malagon. And I feel like with the current situation in Mexico, I think it's going to be years until we're able to compete against them once again.
Richard, we've been trying
if I may, I'd like to answer that.
We've been trying to answer that question for 442 episodes. It's the question on everyone's mind.
I have an answer to that.
But go ahead, Rifado.
And my answer to that is that it's in the works. We just have to continue doing what we did this last tournament, and that's cultivating the youth and mandating teams to play the young players. And, I don't know if you listened to the last pods, but I've been basically pegging the U23 players that play every jornada, every weekend. I've been pegging it around 15 to 20% of all the players that see minutes. So like 1/5 to 1/6 of the players are the youngsters. And, some of these kids are going to pan out and that might be 4-5 years from now. But that's what's brewing in the cauldron. And hopefully, like we see like a very competitive team in the near future. But the unfortunate thing is that I think it's going to take some time and a few more tournaments to really solidify like top talent.
Yeah, for sure.
I would say this is all cyclical, man.
I wanted to add to
we'll all
that.
take turns answering this one, all right? Because this is the hot button question.
Yeah.
So let's all do a round table and let's answer this one because Richard, honestly, bro, you're asking a very dense question that we've tried to
We've tried to
No, it's not.
answer.
It's not dense, güey. No te las mames, güey.
Pero también,
Tens mis huevos,
like
güey.
Rifado just said the best thing. There are things in work. There's things that are happening. So let's just all go around and give our take.
Yeah. So what I wanted to say is that this is cyclical, right? You can go just in the 2000s, right, where U.S. after the 2-0 in the World Cup, they kept beating Mexico till about 2007 on a regular basis.
Yeah, I
or
mean,
2009,
the
something like
pendulum
that. And then
swung their way, and they had a dominance, and
right,
it was a 2-0 thing every time.
yeah, and then Mexico flipped that script around about 2009. Pretty much dominated up until what was that, about 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
It's been about like 4 years now, I think.
Okay, so yeah, and now it's swung over that way. So it's cyclical, and like Rifado had said is that you know part of the issue is the development, and with these things in place right now of having to have some of the younger players get playing time. I think that's going to help out a lot, right? It's going to help develop some of these Mexican players. Uh, whether they're good enough to go to Europe or not, that doesn't really matter as long as they're key contributors. At the end of the day, it's not who has the best players in Europe; it's who has the better team.
All right, that's good.
Exactly.
Joel, what you
Me,
got?
let
Because
me see where
you keep interrupting everyone, so you clearly have your opinion on this.
it heated me. It it grinded my gears. No, this whole the main take was to compete against the U.S. Mexico doesn't need to compete against the U.S. They don't need to be better than the U.S. to do good at the world stage. Mexico needs to compete against the Brazils, the Argentinas, the Frances. That's who they need to compete. If you're worrying about the U.S., that's small potatoes, and they never have had to, like in the past. Even I agree completely about the cyclical. And even then, when the US would have the upper hand, Mexico will still do better in the international stage. They will still do better games at the World Cup. It's why if you look at the trophy cabinet, Mexico has way more international success than the US. Even this US that they pumping sunshine up our asses about all these players that they're in Milan and all these clubs, Chelsea and whatnot, they still haven't won anything like at the international stage. That's why they make such a big deal about winning all these tournaments hosted at home. Gold Cup, Leagues Cup, all of them. And because they beat Mexico in all three finals. So that's why it was a whole big deal. But it's not like they won the Copa America. What happened?
They were pathetic in Copa America.
Exactly, and that's like their golden generation. That's their golden generation. Mexico with all Liga MX, heavily Liga MX squad has made two Copa America finals. So that's the other thing, not to get too carried away of how many players are in Europe. It's just as long as you have good players that get playing time, and that's the main thing. So I don't think we should be worried about how many are going to Europe or if Mex can beat the US. That doesn't dictate, how good Mexico's going to do. It never has. I know the media makes it look like that, and I think it's been a big mistake, at least in recent years, where they sort of make the US like the bar. Right? It has never been the case for Mex, but the media I guess they need something, they need to create a narrative, something to sell us so we could tune in. And I think that's also, as fans, we see this shit and we also believe it, but it's all there. Like if you see, even again, when they've been the more dominant team, again at the international stage, Mex was getting in big wins and overall doing better as a national team. They're the ones that won an Olympic gold, 2 under-17s. Even at the World Cup, if you compare the World Cups, they've had better games.
Yeah, for sure. To answer your question, Richard, because there's a lot to it. I think number one, the coach has to be Mexican. That has proven to be has yielded the best results. Number two, we just need to give young players a chance and more at bats because we've had a talent pool issue as of late, and we've had to rely on foreigners to fill spots that should be filled by Mexicans, but we just don't have enough talent. And we've seen a huge shift with teams having to force to play youth players or else they get penalized financially. So we've seen a lot of young kids step up this league, and this season it's been pretty exciting to watch. But I can just imagine the hundreds more young talented kids that aren't getting chances that we might be missing out on. It's a numbers game, and I think we just need to debut and play more youth players in our own domestic league. I'm not convinced that sending everybody to Europe is going to make us a powerhouse. I will say that the most competitive players and teams are in Europe as of now. And if we can get our top players to play consistent minutes in Europe, I'm all for it. But a lot of the times we've exported players to Europe because thinking that's going to be the answer to our problem, and they go out there and they don't pan out or they don't get minutes, and they come back to the national team rusty and getting minutes for the first time in a long time, and that's not how it should be. So there's a lot that needs to get fixed to see Mexico be successful, but it all starts with the domestic league being powerful, and right now Liga MX is starting to turn around, and we've dominated the CONCACAF region in those tournaments, but we need to get back into CONMEBOL. And I don't know if that's going to happen in my lifetime, but if we really wanted to push ourselves and see the fruits of our labor, we would get our clubs back into Copa Libertadores and continue to have tournaments with CONMEBOL.
Now,
No,
with all of those things being said, right, that is a beautiful statement of pretty much everything that we have happening, everything that we see going on within our league. Now, the one thing that we must address is the big problem that we have domestically, right? And it's the fact that our league, that to a certain degree is supposed to be generating this youth, this talent, or at least finding this talent, allows for an excess of foreigners to be played in there, which hinders development, because a lot of the time what happens is youth gets overlooked for experience, especially when you have to buy somebody and you bring somebody over. At a certain point, you were able to have, I believe it was up to 8 foreigners on your team, and the numbers have just not benefited Mexico, to where if we have those numbers, we would have had those players that Jaime is mentioning that were overlooked. Now, that's where that rule that El Rifado was mentioning, where we're starting to force teams to play youth, and these changes are happening. Now, if you want not so much an immediate fix, but a short-term fix, right? Because let's be honest, we're laying the brickwork to build a house down the road. We're not even moving ready. So what can we do to be moving ready right now? Well, then let's take a look and redefine the idea, or at least take a look at, for you, what you identify a Mexican to be, right? Because we need to have this whole conversation about foreign players who are Mexican citizenship, have earned Mexican citizenship, and are eligible to play for the Mexican national team, but whether or not they get called up, whether or not they have the same rights or they share the same passion for the national team, which they've already or the nation that they've already sworn loyalty to. So I think in the near future, what we're looking at more naturalizados. We're looking at more foreign players who come over, and that's how we're gonna patch the boat for now, while the youth keeps cooking.
I think you're absolutely right, man, and you hit it right in the nail, because what people don't realize is that the World Cup is around the corner, essentially, and the solution for the World Cup might be having to get foreigners, the naturalized players, so we could even attempt to be competitive in the World Cup. Because right now, the way the team is going, like, we're gonna be going there like as a participation, essentially, and that's sad, because I think about the World Cup team we had under Piojo Herrera. I think that was one of the best Mexico teams we have ever had, personally. Like it's crazy how, like, we've lost the I want to say, like, the pride, because, like, ya no es lo mismo, ya no se siente igual. Like, I feel like now it's disappointing. I feel like Mexico, like there's like a saying, si ya los conocemos, ¿para qué nos ilusionamos? Like, it's always the same thing with them, and it sucks, like, that shit hurts, as a Mexican. But I mean, but we'll see what happens in the World Cup. Many things can happen, but I don't like the fact that we have to use foreigners in the team, especially because they should just be pure Mexicanos. But my concern is for the World Cup. I'm looking at it as just like a participation at this point because I don't think we're making
But that's
any
always
impact.
been Mexico. Mexico's always been there to participate. They've never really been that you could say they go into the World Cup and they're favorites to win it. There's never been Mexico. They're still far from that. Is why I promoted here. Start winning. Go for more gold medals and Copa Americas, and eventually you'll get there. But that's never been Mex. You got like the proverbial favorites, the Brazils, the Germanys, the Argentinas, and they're nowhere near those teams. And then you get some of the teams that are like behind them that have come up like France and Spain, and they're still nowhere near that. So it's just the participation, man. That's kind of what it's been. The best we could hope is like to be a dark horse and to beat some of the favorites, which they have done. They've beaten France, they've beaten Germany,
Germany, yeah.
And so I think
Look, man, I've said it before and I'll say it again. We are world class at under the age of 17. We are best in the world
yes.
at
Yeah.
under 17, and then after 17,
Yeah.
that's it, bro. That's our limit. We've won 2 World Cups.
Yeah, from under 23, I say Mexico is probably top 10.
Because once you're 17 and you start to drink and you have kids, and, it's over for you, bro. It's over, dude.
Yeah,
We start young, bro. We start young. I remember Chucky Lozano just jumping onto the scene and he already had like a wife and kids. I'm like, bro, he hadn't even got to Europe yet.
And a baby mama.
A wife and 2 kids, bro.
I'm like, God, no. Canelo had a
That we
kid.
know of.
Canelo had a kid at like 14 or 15.
I know, man. Good thing it wasn't soccer. He would have fell off that.
Y dicen que yo soy el cochino. No mamen, güey.
Sí, güey. Es que yes, we all think it, but you say it.
Hey,
Yes.
guys, it's crazy how I found this space because I was looking for spaces like that's like full of like women, para tirarles el rollo, and then I ended up finding this one. That's how I came to it.
Well, there are some of us here with low T, so you're not too far off.
Ay, güey.
But
Ya, güey, deja de darle putazos a los viejitos.
Richard, we thank you for coming on. We do this almost every Tuesday. We're always on Twitter Spaces, so we encourage you to come back. And who else is next on the closing thoughts? We got Al Pastor, you still there? Christian, you still there?
You know what?
Still here. Oh, sorry. You want to go first?
Yeah. I'll say it. In the meantime, I'll go first. You know what? I'm excited for Liguilla. I am happy that this bullshit of fucking Nations League is done. It, once again, es una pinche copa de chocolate. No sirve para la verga. Like, it's nothing, bro. It doesn't give us a pass to anything. Like, the fact that they're trying to sell it as a make or break moment. Even El Vasco went on fucking TV and said, hey, todo esto es de preparación para el Mundial. Like, none of this fucking matters. All right? We're going to try the youth. We're going to do all of these different things because we're preparing for the World Cup. And that's the mentality that we have to take away from all of this. Now, if we're complaining de que no, güey, pues paramos la liga para estas pendejadas y que quién sabe qué, también acuérdense, cambiamos y movimos la liga para la Leagues Cup. So, estos dos ahora están viniendo y nos están partiendo la madre porque hicimos jornadas dobles y apuramos cosas, movimos el calendario para que se acomodaran las cosas. Entonces, por el billete, todos nos chingamos. All right, so now here we are. Now, going into Liguilla, like I said before, it's really attractive to think about America getting their shit pushed in, not just once, but fucking twice. All right? one, having them lose to Tijuana to then watch Tijuana. Bueno, primero, antes que nada, güey, los putazos que va a haber entre el profe Osorio y Jardiné.
Hopefully.
Mwah, güey.
Jiu-jitsu
right?
versus what do Colombians do? Cumbia? What's their fighting?
Dude, all I know Colombia's for it,
Balazos.
right?
Balazos, yeah. Bombazos a la verga.
shivvings, and cocaine. Like, ¿qué más quieres? Entonces, ahí estás, papá. Luego, they win that one. They go off to face against Toluca. Y neta, way, the way Toluca's playing, I don't even know. Right? Like, Toluca's going to walk on that one unless, because El Profe's got him playing well, dude. He had him going for a while. So let's see what form they can recover. Let's see how it is that looks. America gets their shit pushed in by Tijuana. Then they go and they face Guadalajara. Chivas win the Clásico. Hopefully, if you at least worth a fucking damn, you'll win your Clásico. Then you go and you face your second Clásico against América. Y envergados, como les he dicho, ganan. And then you come to Cruz Azul. And unfortunately, guys, that's your glass ceiling. Just like Kamala Harris. You can't go all the way. Aquí te quedas, papá.
Oh, man. We'll see what
Te
happens.
partimos la madre. And that's it, bro. Toluca Cruz Azul at the final.
I remember growing up, Cruz Azul used to be our customer in Liguilla, bro. We used to always beat you guys. Even that one time we lost 4-1 in the first leg. And then Palencia scored another goal. It was 5-1 at one point, and we came back and eliminated you guys.
What a game.
That was one of my favorite Liguillas. Because I remember I was a kid and somebody asked me, I was at a party because my sister was a lot older and she let me hang out with all her friends. They're like, why are you wearing your Chivas jersey? I was like, because we're going to fucking win on Sunday. I was like, you guys just lost like 4-1. Like, you guys are not winning that match. I'm like, just wait. And it was great, man. That was one of the most satisfying comebacks I've seen in my lifetime in Liguilla, at least, for Chivas.
That was a good memory, Jaime.
I'm happy Cruz Azul has been able to give you these memories because your team doesn't have many, right? You win a title every 10 years. You're broke. Like, I get it. You need the wins wherever you get it, right?
Man,
that's why I fuck up.
It is very brave coming from a franchise that hadn't won anything in, 20-something years?
Pero how was it before, bro? Like,
it was a long time.
Like I've said
I know
before.
you win one in 30 years, and all of a sudden.
I know. All of a sudden, we're equals. Come on, bro.
Senor, we've constantly been knocking at the doors. You had the rules changed for you to not get fucking relegated.
You guys are one of the best. You guys are good at being in second place. One of the most consistent second place runners up I've seen in the last decade.
You know what? ¿Sabes qué, güey? Como dije la vez pasada, cuando los mongolitos lo dicen, es verdad. Cruz Azul es más grande que Chivas y ha estado en más finales que Chivas.
Yeah, your win rate's horrible. Really bad.
Doesn't matter, bro. It takes a lot to get there. And you didn't even make it into league after what, 5 years straight? 8?
No.
How long was it that you guys didn't make it into league consistently?
It was not 8 years. You're tripping.
It felt like
it was like 4 years, yeah.
Porque, güey, dabas tristeza.
4 straight years, like 3 years.
All right, who's next?
I was just gonna say that I think Chivas is gonna beat Atlas 1-0, and then Tijuana is gonna beat America 3-0, and then I hate to say it though, but I think we're gonna lose to America on penalties. We just can't beat those guys.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Where is that game going to be played if it's played in? Because America's the higher seed. So does anybody know where they're playing that game?
They're playing Pachuca. I mean Puebla.
Well, I don't know how it works with losing out of your bracket. It wouldn't make sense to host even though you're hired. I don't know what happens. Actually,
look, if America has to play somewhere, they play at Estadio de los Deportes. That is their home.
I thought they're going to play at Puebla if they end up hosting.
Is that official?
Pretty sure.
No sé, güey. I haven't heard anything about that. All I'm saying is that America's official home for this season is Estadio Los Deportes. Love it or hate it, that's where they're based out of. Now, if they move the seed, remember, America, Televisa, they do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah, I think on the last episode we talked about how America was fed up with that stadium and that they are going to start playing in El Cuauhtémoc. We'll see.
There was a rumor about it, but nothing has happened. And so, ahí están por ahorita.
I think they played their last game in El Estadio Cuauhtémoc. That sold out. So there's that. Who's next on the closing thoughts? I've lost count.
I think I'm next. So my closing thoughts are gonna have to do more with La Selección, and I just want to start off by giving flowers to the midfield trifecta of Edson Alvarez, Romo, and Charlie. Now I know there's gonna be a lot of people that disagree with me in praising this trio because Edson was kind of sloppy going forward, but he broke up play a lot. He like blocked spaces. He was breaking channels. He was blocking channels. I mean, so I thought he did pretty good in that aspect. Romo, two-way player, very physical, good in the air. Wonderful touch. All these guys they were awful at finishing tonight. But this double pivot I feel is like our double pivot. And now everyone loves to shit on Charlie Rodriguez, but you don't get to be a day in, day out starter for right now the best team in Mexico. I know, I'm a Chivas fan, but Cruz Azul, they broke the record. They're playing really good soccer, and until they get eliminated, which I think they will, until they get eliminated, they are the best team in Mexico, club team, I mean. And you don't get to be a day in, day out starter for a team like that and the Selección without having any merit. And people like love to have like these shallow takes on Charlie, but they don't see the forest from the trees in the sense that this guy recycles possession. This guy restarts the metronome. Like this guy, like a lot of the attack is able to be accomplished because this guy goes and transfers the ball from the right side of the field to the left side of the field, and so like I'm really satisfied with this trio. I think this is the trio going forward. And I'm most happy about us moving away from Orbelin as the center attacking midfielder. I think the guy contributes so little, loses the ball, and just really falls short in regards to like creating and helping be like a conduit for the attack. So like he was just taking up space. I've seen it's been a pattern for the past 3 or 4 games, and I was really happy he was benched. Now I like Charlie Rodriguez there, but I wouldn't mind Chavez coming in. He's been looking really out of form for the Selección. I hated him for the Honduras game, but he was playing a little deeper, and then maybe possibly a Vega or a Cordova, there, give them a shot like in the second half, against tired legs when you want to like attack a bit more. But like as far as like our midfield three, I think we have it here in what's it called in the three players that I just mentioned. I wanted to give a shout out to Alexis Gutierrez, who looked good. Like he's also a two-way player. He's like a Swiss Army knife for Cruz Azul. He can play right wing back. He was playing right winger for us, switching with Vega at times. So he was even on the left wing. He could play in the middle. So he has a lot of intangibles that he could bring in the sense that he's fast, he's good on the ball, and he can put in a defensive shift. So I like him, and I'd like to see more of him. He's kind of a late bloomer. I think he's 24 years old, and like he's kind of been pedestrian up until this season. So I wanted to give him a shout out. And then of course Henry Martin and Raul, just they linked up so great for that. I think it was the second goal where like it reminded me of like one of Chicharito's goals back in the day where someone heads him the ball and then he just puts it away. And so like, they connected really well. And what I like about them is that they're both 9.5s. And so they're not just poaching goals, they're not just target men. They can help facilitate, the creative side of the game. And so I'm happy for them doing well. They're on the wrong side of 30, but that's all we have right now since Jimenez is out. I mean, El Chaquito is out. And then, the man of the match, according to statistics, that one stat site that I'm always quoting, is Alexis Vega, who was at home and just absolutely wonderful. He like created so many chances for us. He looked really great. I'm glad to see him doing well. Hopefully he can keep it up. He's got bad knees, which is like the most worrying thing for me. And then we have, of course, Orozco, El Chiquete. He provided the assist for the first goal. It's not every day that a center back like breaks forward into the attack, right? It takes a lot of confidence. And this guy is not a starter by any means. He's young. And so like this could have really backfired on him, but he had the audacity to push forward and just really like start like the breakthrough in the attack for us. Like, like all the goals, like they weren't coming out. It was like the ketchup bottle, it was stuck. And then this guy, he takes a chance, and then the faucet opens and the floodgates open, and we score four, by the end of the night. So, really happy with what I saw. Hopefully, Aguirre learns from this and stops with like these half measures that I mentioned earlier, because when you commit to an idea fully, the upside is great. So, and rant, thanks everyone. Good chat, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks, Rifalo. I read a stat today that says Chiquete has the same amount of assists for the national team as Charlie Rodriguez. So
that's not his game. Like I said, Charlie Rodriguez is there to recycle possession, to facilitate, like to maintain ball possession.
yeah,
Like he's going to be the cog that's going to help you transfer the ball from one area to another. So like he's more like the pass before the assist, or the pass before the pass before the assist,
I
which is
see.
crazy.
But he's in the midfield and Chiquete's on D. So just goes to show. Effectivity from Chiquete today was great, and I hope that he will be our starter in 2026. We'll see what happens. He might go out of Europe, like Habibi said. He might be one of the players that we have to sell. I hope not until we win something, but we shall see. Who's still there? Who still hasn't gone on closing thoughts yet?
Jaime, I got a couple of thoughts.
Let's hear
Mine
it.
should be short, but it was more on the national team as well, and it was the it was nice to see the striker score, and well balanced. The team was well balanced, I think, overall. Man, it was it was a cohesive unit, and I think that's give credit to Aguirre for finding associations, right, that work, right, which is the Cruz Azul one, the America one, and it worked out just fine. The other thing that, and I don't know if it was just me or not, but in recent times, Mex, when playing catch up, seems to hit like I don't know, a stress button, a panic button, right? And they seemed pretty composed going into the 40th minute before that first goal, even though they'd created opportunities to score. Um, and they didn't panic. They stayed composed. They scored that first one a little before the half, and again that opened up the floodgates. So it was nice to see a composed team stay on point, and eventually start getting the goals. Make Honduras feel the pressure. Nothing like sending a team into the locker room at halftime thinking about that, giving up a second goal when they're only up one.
Nice to have you on, Elbow. And, I did like to see the grit from the Mexican national team today, especially when things weren't going their way early in the match and missing a lot of opportunities. They put their heads down and got a very substantial victory against Honduras. So kudos to Aguirre and his men. I think things are starting to go back into a positive direction with the national team and the outlook for your typical fan. Who else is still left to have their closing thoughts? Joel, you still on here? Did you already have yours? I forgot.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much did. I'm just gonna finish off from my earlier statement about Max being participant. I think, I don't mean to sound so negative. It's just being realistic about where the team stands at the world stage. And it's even for many other teams, it's been hard to crack into that top five. Um, but I think probably within the next 30 years, we'll see something. um, I think if Mexico's economy is expected to grow in the next 10, 15 years, that could have a positive effect. But I still think Se Vale Soñar is still fun to watch. And that's it. That's it, mi Jaime.
Well, thank you. Habibi,
My
did you
closing
go?
thought is that enjoy this Mexico game. It's been for a minute. I had been that deal that when you were younger, excited about the Mexico game, he would shut down your dreams and say those guys always lose. Fuck the Mexico team. I was slowly turning into that deal. But this game, felt like another back in the day type of game. Even on social media, usually they say, hoy juegan los
Pendejos.
pendejos.
Yep.
Today we're going to be out. Like, fuck these guys. Fuera Aguirre. And today was like, fuck Honduras. Like, we're going to beat them. Like, even from the morning, like, you feel like a different type of energy. And even that type of energy showed in the game. It's been a while since I seen the team like that cohesive unit of it actually looks like they're practicing. That actually shows like there's a purpose to their game plan. So that was fun, and like we mentioned, the fans, the stadium, it lived up to the standards as well. So hopefully they build off it. But with that being said, end of the day, way it's Toluca, it's the altitude,
Mm-hmm.
it's a weak ass Honduras team. I mean, this doesn't change much except from the attitude, which is important. Is hopefully we recover the attitude, but at the same time, it's like we need stronger rivals. Aguirre said in his press conference, like we need to see what these players can do under different pressure. Not being at home, we need stronger rivals because this isn't it. I mean, like having a 4-0 win against Honduras. Like, are you kidding me? Like, let's see what happens. And then for the Chivas end, I said it when we got bounced by Pumas. I'll say it again. We didn't beat a single top 10 team this season. So there's no way we didn't beat a single top 10 team and that we're going to do anything meaningful in Liguilla. Like, hopefully we beat Atlas because if there's one team I hate losing to is Atlas. I take the Clásico Tapatío very serious. But outside of that game, I see us getting bounced by the next team, whether it's, America or Tijuana. And then I don't see much from there. And then with Chiquete, out of center backs that are not European, like in the world, he's in the top 10 as far as value. He's like value like at 9 million euros or something. Uh,
Damn.
he's leaving, man. Like, if he doesn't leave this window, he's leaving the next one. As long as he doesn't get injured or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
which sucks because that's the type of players that Chivas needs to like
Yeah.
change. The players that are part of the national team, players that have that national team potential. And as soon as he starts going, boom, he's gone. Same thing with Cade. He's not a Mexican national team player, but he's still a national team player for the U.S. He got called up the last one. He got called up this one. They got Weston McKinney. They got Pulley, who's up in Milan. They got like good club European players, and he's still getting called up. So that tells you something. I see him going to Europe as well. Like you said, he's been the X factor. So it just makes you think like shit. We don't got much going on the roster, and the little bit that we do, we're about to lose it. So hopefully one day we can, just like it's been a while since felt this excited about a Mexico team. Hopefully soon enough we'll have a Chivas team that gets us excited, that makes us believe we got a chance. Because even when we made that final against Tigres, I didn't expect that from that roster. Honestly, I did not expect Pauno to take that roster to a final. So that was a pleasant surprise. But hopefully we actually have a team that gives us the confidence that we can win.
Yeah. I think there was something that felt different, like Habibi mentioned, with the national team. And I think it all comes down to the can being thrown at Aguirre. I think it united everybody because we like to shit on each other and make fun of the selección. It's okay when we do it, and it's okay when we have internal conflict. But when Honduras does some type of shit, that unites us all. And there was a huge cause for that tonight, and I'm glad that they were able to execute on that. So kudos to the national team. And their next game's not till March, so we're gonna have a pretty good break between now and then. I'm happy that Liguilla has restarted the play-in on Thursday. My season with Chivas pretty much ended already. They haven't shown any signs of wanting to stay in this. They're lucky to even get into the play-in. We'll see if they have a fight against Atlas, but I have no expectations for my team. And I think America is fucked either way. If they beat Tijuana, they got to face Toluca, who they just played and got their shit pushed in 4-0. So that is a route America probably doesn't want to take. They probably want to maybe lose that game and then play against the easier opponent, which would be either Atlas or Chivas, and then play against Cruz Azul. So it's going to be interesting how this pans out. We have 2 guaranteed games on Thursday, and then we have the winner versus the loser on Saturday. So we still have some Sábado Futbolero, thank God. And that's really all I have for you guys tonight. I was really deceived from the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight. I was very, very sad and disappointed to see that we were all bamboozled. And I think there was more action, more fighting today with Honduras and Mexico between Malagon and the rest of that team. But yeah, we, like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, we're now on Blue Sky. So if you guys have migrated to that platform, we will be there for you guys. And we're working on our production. We're trying to get our audio better. And, we'll see what the future holds for Cantina in 2025, maybe expand into other topics, other sports, as natural as that is when you're in a bar having a conversation with your homies. And thank you all for your support. We'll catch you on the next one. Have a good night.